Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Wisconsin.
Friday night, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Opening week continues here in Brewtown. It's still really cold outside, but don't worry. Tailgating is epic. There's even a little bit of sunshine here to tailgate as we get set for the Houston Astros and the Milwaukee Brewers. Got a lot of new faces here. Chase Anderson is one of them. He makes his Brewers debut coming to the Brew Crew from the Arizona Diamondbacks. And hi, everybody. We welcome you from Miller Park. Great to have you with us tonight alongside Bill Schroeder. I'm Brian Anderson. Sophia Minute, our reporter tonight. Well, the Houston Astros are here. Now, they used to be in the Brewers division, but they haven't been in this ballpark since 2012, since they went to the American League. And, Rock, this is a much different ball club than what we saw the last few years. This was a playoff team last year.
Yeah, they snuck up on some people last year. You know, 2 years ago, the Houston Astros won only 51 games. Last year, 86. They got to the postseason as a wild card. You know, baseball is filled with great young stars right now, but Carlos Correa might be at the top of the list. He already has 3 home runs this year, almost hit another one in yesterday's ball game. But you can see this guy. He's got the poise and the leadership of a guy that's been in the league for 10 years. I mean, everybody at the Astros talks about this guy as a no-miss superstar in the game, and he's certainly proven it so far this year.
The Rookie of the Year in the American League last year, and a 6'4" shortstop that can go get them with the best of them. And these two organizations are closely connected. Look who's back in Miller Park. Fan favorite Carlos Gomez. A big trade that brought Domingo Santana here. Sophia has more on that after this.
Milwaukee Brewers baseball on Fox Sports Wisconsin is brought to you by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. By your local Toyota dealers. Toyota, let's go places. And by Miller Lite, the original light Pilsner. Cheers, it's Miller time. cold night in Milwaukee. Domingo Santana getting warmed up for tonight's matchup between the Brewers and the Houston Astros, a 3-game series coming up here from Miller Park. Domingo Santana, the Brewers' new starting right fielder and leadoff hitter, one of the key pieces of a 6-player deal between these two teams at the trade deadline a year ago. So let's take a look at the players that exchanged in that deal. Houston Astros, they acquired, of course, 2-time All-Star Carlos Gomez and pitcher Mike Fiers, who threw a no-hitter for the Astros last year. And for the Brewers, they acquired Domingo Santana, outfielder Brett Phillips, who is now the second-best-ranked prospect in the organization, right-handed pitcher Adrian Hauser, and the lefty Josh Hader. Phillips, Hauser, and Hader are all at AA, all in the top 20 prospects for the Brewers. A revamped farm system. Here's what Craig Counsell had to say about the deal.
It was, kind of a classic trade deadline move. I think from with a contender and a team and a non-contender. So, I think we're certainly happy with the players we got. We have 3 of those players are in AA this year. 2 of them are starting the first 2 games. The other guy's hitting third in the AA lineup. So, and the other guy's our leadoff hitter. So we're happy with how it's went. They got. Mike Fiers threw a no-hitter for him last year, and Carlos is obviously he's a big-time Major League player.
Familiar faces in both dugouts. The return of Carlos Gomez to Milwaukee. Also, Domingo Santana, Chris Carter, Jonathan Villar now with the Brewers. Brian Anderson, Bill Schroeder bring you first pitch coming up next.
For the Brewers in just 1 year, fan favorite Carlos Gomez now having fun in an Astros uniform, while the Brewers have acquired talent with Houston ties. From a talented young right fielder to a reliable shortstop and a first baseman with incredible power. It's a matchup of familiar faces between the Astros and the Brew Crew, and it's next on Fox Sports Wisconsin. And there is Domingo Santana ready for a matchup against his old club. Santana in the lineup tonight, leading off, playing right field. Game 1 of this 3-game series, the Brewers and the Astros, kicks off tonight on a Friday night. Roof is all closed up. It's 34 degrees outside Miller Park right now, and it snowed today a lot where I live. Brewers baseball on Fox Sports Wisconsin, presented by Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. Spend the night with luxury. Field looks great inside Miller Park, and a good crowd filing in for this one as we get set to welcome in the Houston Astros and their second-year manager A.J. Hinch and his star shortstop standing right behind him, Carlos Correa. Astros a playoff team last year. They were 86-76. Took the Kansas City Royals to a decisive Game 5 in the division series of the American League. And here's the Potawatomi batting order for the Astros. Jose Altuve will lead off, then George Springer. Carlos Correa already with 3 homers thus far. Middle of the order is Luis Valbuena, Carlos Gomez, and then Tyler White. Jason Castro, Jake Marisnick, Scott Feldman round out the starting 9. Astros do not get the designated hitter tonight in the National League ballpark. And Rock, there's Chase Anderson. Speaking of a new face in a different place, he's coming to the Brewers from the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Well, it took him a while to make his first start, but here he is. He spent 2 seasons with the Diamondbacks. He was 15-13 in those 2 years, a .418 earned run average in 48 starts. And we saw Chase in spring training, 1-1. He made 5 starts down in Arizona, and he needs to figure out a way to keep the opposition off the board in the first couple of innings. He struggled early in games, but then was able to settle down.
Saw the inscription he writes on the back of the mound, something he does before every game to honor his late father, Robert. And Anderson ready to go here tonight. First pitch as a Brewer to Jose Altuve is in there for a strike, and off we go. Altuve, he was kind of the centerpiece that started this movement for the Houston Astros. Stolen base leader last year in the American League, and already a 3-time All-Star at this point. This guy is a hitting machine. Altuve led the American League last year with 100 or 200 hits, I should say. Has 425 hits in his last 2 seasons.
And not a big guy, but makes very good contact and gets a lot of infield hits because he can run so well. You know, it wasn't that long ago, it was Altuve and pretty much nobody else in that lineup that really scared you, although Altuve is not a guy that's going to take you out of the ballpark, but does a terrific job of getting on base in front of this pretty good lineup that the Houston Astros throw out there.
And a wave and a miss as Anderson takes something off. Now Altuve and then George Springer and then Carlos Correa. They don't have many holes in their lineup, and the Astros coming off a series loss against the Yankees. They lost yesterday, completed that series dropping 2 out of 3. And they've been scoring a few runs, but their pitching was the issue against the Yankees, as the Astros in 3 games allowed 27 runs, including a 16-6 loss on Wednesday.
And pitching was one of the reasons that they were able to get to the postseason last year. They got off to a terrific start. Now, they were actually 18-7 when they started last year and ended up around 500 the rest of the way, but always have that good pitching, and they've got the Cy Young Award winner in the American League in the rotation.
Altuve to right and a base hit. So a 2-strike single for the Astros second baseman, and that gives us a chance to take a look at the Milwaukee Brewers defense courtesy of Menards.
Yeah, pretty much the same lineup out there just about every day so far, except for Kean Broxton. Broxton started on opening day, and he gets a start here today against these Houston Astros. A lot of ability for Kean Broxton, just a matter of how much playing time he's going to be able to get.
Here's George Springer, Astros right fielder. Only 2 hits, but he's already driven in 4 on the young season. Got to keep an eye on Altuve. He will run. Mentioned the 38 steals last year. Astros led the American League in stolen bases as a team. They stole 121 bags. Anderson does have a very good move. And when he's right, he'll get a lot of ground balls.
He needs that 2-seam fastball. His best pitch is his changeup. He'll throw a slider and a fastball to go with it, along with the curveball. But needs to be able to be sharp early in games. That was his issue in spring training.
Really struggled this spring, did Anderson. And you wonder if there's any carryover. I'm sure he's got some nerves flowing with a new team. knows he's in the rotation with the Brewers as Springer pops this one up. Looks like that's going to slice into the seats. Anderson is very excited about his opportunity in Milwaukee. Had a chance to visit with him this spring. And even though he was in a good place with the Diamondbacks, came to the big leagues a little later in his career. He's 28 years of age. This is his 3rd year in the major leagues. Had a terrific rookie season. And last year ended up at 6-6 and an ERA of 4.3. Made 27 starts last season. So this figures to be a pivotal year in the career of Chase Anderson.
No, and he pitched in a very hitter-friendly ballpark in Arizona, Chase Field, and pretty much the same here in Milwaukee. He's got to rely heavily on that two-seam fastball to keep the ball on the ground. Last thing he wants is to be a fly ball pitcher here at Miller Park. He does have a tendency to give up some home runs.
Altuve with a big lead at first. And Anderson, see, he's got a very quick move to first base. He can be tough to run on.
And that's the other aspect of a running ball club, taking the attention away from the pitcher to the hitter. Having a tendency maybe to make a mistake. You worry too much about the guy at first base. That's a nice lead.
No balls and a strike on Springer. And a strike. 0-2 the count. Springer's got big power, and you start to see the way the lineup's constructed for A.J. Hinch. Put a guy in that 2-hole who can do some damage, and with the speed of Altuve, maybe find a few more fastballs in there. Got him. Went with a fastball at 92, and Springer strikes out. So the first out of the ball game for Chase Anderson is a K.
Yeah, going right after him, a four-seam fastball up and away, and Springer swings right through it. It was on the corner, but it was up. That gave Springer an opportunity, but he came up empty. Good pitch. Up, got away with it.
One man gone, and here is Carlos Correa making his Miller Park debut. Just arrived to the big leagues last year. And what a start he is off to in his brief career in the major leagues. He's already hit 3 homers, the Rookie of the Year from the American League last year. He almost hit one out yesterday to the opposite field at Yankee Stadium. Correa was 0 for 4 yesterday. Just 21 years of age.
Yep, out of Puerto Rico. He's 6'4", 215 pounds. That's a big guy for a shortstop. That's a A-Rod type body build.
Alex Rodriguez was his idol growing up. Somebody he looked up to very much. Those two ended up matching up in the series last year, or last week, I should say. I like your point, though, in the open rock about the young stars in baseball today. There's so many talented young players that are doing big things at such an early age. And you think about what Bryce Harper's already done. Yeah. Feels like he's been around forever, but he's still a young guy. And Mike Trout. And then you start to move to this next wave of 20, 21, 22-year-olds. Correa fits that bill as the next emerging star.
Hey, it wasn't that long ago that organizations would never dream of bringing up a kid at 21 years old, right? You know, with the economics the way it is, you give these guys a chance, and look what they're able to do. I mean, Carlos Correa, unbelievable ability, and as we mentioned on the open, poise and leadership for a guy that is so young. Who would have thought at that age?
He was the first overall pick just a couple of seasons ago, back in 2012 actually was his draft year. Boy, that didn't miss by much. Anderson going back with the fastball.
He's not messing around too much, going with the four-seamer most of the time. most of the time on the outside corner so far.
You can already see, though, the effect of Altuve. When he gets on base, the game really slows down as you have to spend so much attention. And there he goes, and the pitch is down and away. Throw to second is late. A stolen base for Altuve. That's his second of the year.
Yep, everybody's on high alert when Altuve's at first base. Catchers, call game a little bit differently, perhaps, to try and get a chance to throw him out. Pitchers are very conscious of what he's doing over there, and still able to steal the base, throw a little bit off the mark from Lucroy.
So a runner at second with one away. And he popped him up. Scooter Gennett will make the call. And there is out number 2 as Correa is retired.
Yeah, breaking ball and got away with it. Looked like it might have been up a little bit, but Correa underneath. Now you figure Anderson gets through this first inning with no damage. That's got to be a big shot in the arm from him. Every time he went out there in spring training, it was a tough go of it for him early on.
Yeah, those early innings are what got him. And Arizona's a tough place to pitch anyway, especially if you're a field pitcher like Chase Anderson. But he didn't have that start that you feel good about, that he feels good about. So hoping to put that all behind him. Obviously, pitchers will work on various things in spring training that they don't do in the regular season. Boy, there's that changeup. That is a beauty.
Yep, good location away. They say he did not go. And you see the changeup grip, the circle change, and well, that didn't miss the strike zone by too much.
Luis Valbuena hitting cleanup in this Astros lineup. Not your prototypical cleanup hitter, but the Astros rely heavily on analytics, and the structure of their lineup has a lot to do with various numbers. A.J. Hinch and his bench coach Trey Hillman. So many connections between these two franchises now. All the trades that were made last year, the players that came from Houston to Milwaukee and vice versa. Sophia mentioned David Stearns, the new general manager of the Brewers, was the assistant GM with the Astros. David's going to join us in the bottom of the third today. Looking forward to catching up with David and hearing his thoughts on how the season has begun and then what he has to say about the Astros. I'm sure he had a pretty good scouting report to offer.
You bet.
There's a high fly ball off the end of the bat. Stay playable for Santana, and that's that in the first. So Altuve gets on, disrupts it a little bit, but Chase Anderson a scoreless first inning. outs. The Astros failed to score. Got a single from Altuve. Anderson gets out of it. Now Craig Counsell ready to send his lineup to the mound tonight. Just like A.J. Hinch in his second season as a big league skipper. And Domingo Santana set to lead off once again. It'll be Santana, Scooter Gennett, and then Ryan Braun at the top of Counsell's order. Middle of the order is Lucroy, Carter, and Hill. And then VR, Chase Anderson, and Keon Broxton rounded out the Potawatomi starting 9 for Milwaukee. Note the pitcher batting 8th once again. And Rockets going to be Scott Feldman, the former Cub, former Oriole, on the mound for the Astros, back and healthy this season.
Yeah, he had 2 trips to the disabled list last year. 3rd year with the Astros, the 3rd year of a 3-year contract. His best year was 09 with the Rangers. He was 17-8.
Those injuries held him to just 18 starts last year. He was good when he was out there at 5-5 and an ERA sub-4. And he slots in 4th in the starting rotation that boasts the Cy Young Award winner from the American League last year, Dallas Keuchel. He'll get the ball Sunday. Domingo Santana leading off again. He's had a good run to start the season. It's a position he has never hit in his career, all through the minor leagues. Never hit leadoff. He's seeing a lot of pitches at this point. He's drawn a couple of walks.
Yeah, Brewer offense has been fairly patient. You know, Scooter Gennett's been looking good at the plate, being very patient. Ryan Braun. And just what Darnell Coles was looking for down in spring training, working on fundamentals. Plate discipline, very important.
Full count to Santana. Now, Domingo is the only former Astro of the 4 that are in the big leagues right now. The other 3 are at the AA level. All in Biloxi. Josh Hader pitched last night in AA. He got the start for the Shuckers. He pitched well. Adrian Hauser's in that rotation, and Brett Phillips is the 3-hole hitter and the starting center fielder. Full count to Santana, and he got him.
That looked low.
Santana disagrees. Tom Hallion, as only he can, with the ring up.
Yep. And he rings you up like he's enjoying it. And Santana thought that might have been a bit low. Let's check it out. Well, Tom Hallion thinks it's okay, and that's the only guy that matters.
He's the only umpire in the big leagues that is just a called strike 3 away from an oblique injury.
He does a lot of stretching before the game.
He's fun to watch, actually. He's the crew chief of this 4-man crew. A Scooter Gennett turns it around. Way back it goes. Scooter Gennett with another home run. His 2nd of the season. And the Brewers strike first here tonight.
Boy, he's looking good at the plate. He's keeping that front shoulder closed and hitting the baseball with authority. Well, those extra 10 pounds that he put on in that weight room in the offseason. Cut fastball that didn't do anything until it hit Scooter Gennett's bat. And then it flew out of here. Oh, what a start he's off to.
That swing is well grooved early in the season. That was way back. That's a long home run up into the Loge level. Gennett is 5 for 11 to start the season and has 2 home runs among those 5 hits after a blistering spring. And Ryan Braun takes a ball high.
And doing some damage against lefties as well.
What a great start. He had .424 this spring and 4 home runs. Wanted to prove that he is an everyday player against right or left, and you keep swinging the bat like this, there will be no problem having his name in the lineup every day.
It took Madison Bumgarner out of the yard on opening day.
That was his first at bat of the season and his first ever home run against a left-handed pitcher in the big leagues. Ryan Braun off to a good start at the plate. He's got 4 hits. Drove in a run against San Francisco on Wednesday. The Brewers managed to win that final game of the series to salvage the series. Dropped 2 out of 3. Giants look like they're going to be a very good team.
Yeah, once they start hitting. Man, Brewers had very good pitching the last 2 games of that series. Limited the Giants only 4 runs combined the last 2 games. Good bullpen work, good starting pitching.
Giants broke out of it in a big way yesterday. Got a grand slam from Hunter Pence. They beat the Dodgers yesterday. Feldman from Burlingame, California. 8 years with the Rangers. We saw him in this division with the Cubs in 2013, and then he was traded that year to Baltimore. Now in his 3rd year as an Astro. That's some pretty good years with Texas, including a postseason run with the Rangers in 2011. He pitched out of the pen during that postseason of 11.
12th big league season for Scott Feldman.
A sinker baller. A lot of pitches in this first inning for Feldman already. Santana took him to a deep count. Jeanette homers on the first pitch, and now Braun in a full count. And he missed badly. Ball 4. Braun draws the walk. A base runner with 1 away, with Lucroy coming up. Rock, how about the Menards Astros defense tonight?
Yeah, very athletic up the middle. Carlos Gomez, you don't have to say too much that you don't already know about Carlos Gomez, one of the best in the business defensively. Correa, Altuve, outstanding up the middle. Jason Castro behind home plate, the left-handed hitter, hanging the signs for Feldman here tonight.
The Gold Glover, Carlos Gomez. He is excited to be back at Miller Park. He's got a lot of fans here still. There were a lot of disappointed fans when he was traded away. He does so much great work around the community as well. We'll get into that during the course of our game. But Carlos had a lot of people to see today. Always a smile on his face. Here's Lucroy now. Jonathan with 3 hits, still looking for his first RBI. A .282 career hitter, but a down season last season, and hoping for a bounce back this year. Up the middle, hits Feldman in the foot, and a race, nobody home. Lucroy on an infield hit.
Yeah, they're falling this year early in the season. They weren't last year. Got off to a horrible start. Just couldn't buy a base hit, but now they're starting to drop. That might have been up the middle anyway, but the way Correa and Altuve cover ground, you never know. Feldman gets a piece of it, but no play at first base. That's a curveball. Lucroy stayed back on it. That's a base hit.
So the Brewers, 2 hits and a walk in this inning. Yeah, right off the heel. And that sets it up for Chris Carter. Carter, a former Astro. He wasn't involved in a trade. He was actually signed as a free agent this offseason. David Stearns knows him well, likes him a lot, and decided him to offer a job. Braun takes off. The throw to third in time. Braun is out.
Can't do that.
Boy, what a terrific throw by Castro, and Braun with the big bopper at the plate runs into an out at third base.
Yeah, Feldman got rid of it fairly quickly, and that was a perfect job by Castro to clear the hitter and throw a strike down to third base. Wasn't that big of a lead for Brawny. And that looked pretty close. Did he get him? I don't know. You see the drop step. Does the foot get in there? I don't know.
Close.
Craig Counsell's taking a look at it.
Maybe a good angle to see the super slow-mo.
I'm not sure where he tags him on that, but it looked like it was pretty close. But Craig Counsell's not going to challenge it.
Yeah, the call on the field is out, so it didn't look like enough evidence there to be overturned. And remember, if you challenge and you don't get it right, you don't get it overturned, you lose it for the rest of the game. So not worth the risk, according to the Brewers bench. And here's Carter now, deep in the center field, away, back, and goodbye. Chris Carter, a 2-run homer. Bernie hits the slide, and the Brewers take a 3-0 lead.
Well, that man is strong. Not too many stronger than Chris Carter. And he's done pretty well against Scott Feldman. 3 for 3 with a couple of home runs.
Well, I guess.
That's not bad. A curveball up in the zone, and watch Carter. Nice, easy swing, and that ball just jumps off his bat. And when he gets a hold of him like that, no ballpark's going to hold it.
Second home run for Carter as a Brewer. 2-run shot.
Yeah, big guys like Carter hit him in bunches to stay hot.
Well, the pitching woes for the Astros carry over to Miller Park tonight. 3 early runs, a lot of pitches in this first inning for Feldman as Aaron Hill steps in with 2 outs.
And typically Feldman's not a guy that gives up a lot of home runs because, as you mentioned, he's a sinker baller. He's got a pretty good cut fastball to go with it.
Aaron Hill coming off maybe the best catch of the year.
Best play
in the first 3 games. Yeah, best overall play. It might stand up the rest of the season. That ball's hit well. Right center field, and it's going to hang up there on a line. Maybe got a little on the label. Inning is over, but the Brewers go deep twice. Scooter Gennett launches on the first pitch. And then Chris Carter, the former Astro, against his old team. 2-run shot, 3-run inning for the Brew Crew. Brewers get 3 in the first. Head to the second, and a standing ovation here for Carlos Gomez as he is ready to lead off this second inning. A nice moment for him there, acknowledging the fans. Had a chance to talk to Carlos before the game. He said he loved his time here. It made him a better person, a better man. And he was disappointed to go, but he loves the team he's on now, and it is a contending team, and he is excited about that prospect.
That first opportunity here in Milwaukee to play every day, and look how things turned out. 2-time All-Star. fan favorite, player favorite for that matter. Made the rounds around the batting cage and around the grandstand, saying hello to the fans. Good guy.
Gomez didn't have the kind of impact that he had hoped last year once he arrived in Houston. Had some injuries to deal with as well. In 41 games with the Astros last year, he hit .242. He did hit 4 homers. Had 13 runs batted in. Milwaukee was his longest stop. 5.5 years here in a Brewers uniform. Career that started with the Mets, and then he was in the Santana trade. Johan Santana to the Twins. Matter of fact, he's been involved in 2 Santana trades.
Yeah.
And Domingo Santana, one of the 4 in the package that sent Gomez and Mike Fiers to Houston. 3-2 pitch, and it's in there. A called strike 3. Chase Anderson drops the changeup on the outside corner for a strike, and Gomez is out.
Tom Hallion calling some strikes tonight. Yeah, ringing up Carlos Gomez. You can see the changeup. Who looks for a changeup on a 3-2 count? Look at Lucroy, holds it there nicely. Not too many better than Lucroy at shaping pitches for the umpire. And Gomez, I think, in the back of his mind said, "You're right, that's a strike."
Now, is it just me, or did it look like Carlos Gomez was walking to the Brewers dugout?
I think he thought it was ball 4.
Let's see.
He was trying to sell it. No.
Yeah, he knew it.
Yeah, he knew it.
Wait, I'm in the other dugout. I'm going to go with that story. It's better. It's a better narrative. You're telling the truth. I'm trying to, sell papers here.
I do apologize. I should have gone with it. Old habits hard to break.
Chase Anderson's got a good changeup going early. Tyler White, one of the hottest hitters in the game to start the season.
Well, he's got good command right now. First couple innings, that ball in the corners, keeping it down in the strike zone.
White hit his first major league home run yesterday against the Yankees. This guy's a tremendous success story. A 33rd round draft pick in 2013. He's the first Astro to make it to the big leagues from that draft. Normally, the guys who make it to the big leagues first are way, way up, not 33rd rounders.
They're the ones that get all the chances.
And he hammers one to left field, way back. Braun will watch it off the wall. And Braun's got a good arm. On his way to second goes White. He's in there with a double.
Yeah, he got a changeup. He looked like he was waiting for one. Well, scouting report, these guys go back to the dugout. They wonder what's he got, what's he throwing. He says he's got a good changeup, so every now and then you're going to look for one. He throws a changeup to White. You can see it's up in the zone, middle in. That's not where you want it. You want it down in the zone. Either that or up and away. You don't want it where he put it, and White able to hammer it off the wall and left.
How about that start to a season? 7 for 10 at the plate. He was 3 for 4 with 4 RBIs yesterday. Hit a 2-run homer yesterday, and now he's aboard with a double. It is the second hit for the Astros.
That's a strong man out there at second base. Hooked that pitch and hammered it off the wall.
So here is Jason Castro, Astros catcher. Brewers put a big shift on for Castro, expecting him to pull the ball on the ground. They play him a shade to the opposite way in the outfield. He's still looking for his first hit of the season, and he's been striking out a lot to start the year. He's 0 for 8 with 5 Ks. 0-2 the count.
In a platoon with Eric Kratz, a right-handed hitting catcher.
Evan Gattis is on the disabled list right now. Gattis is in a minor league rehab setting in Double-A, Corpus Christi. Actually played last night. Astros have 3 lefties in their lineup. One of those lefties is the pitcher Feldman. Castro and Valbuena are the 2 position player left-handed hitters. And Castro able to take it. Good block back there by Lucroy. 2-2 the count.
Anderson with that curveball. You know, when he called that curveball, at least it should be down around the knees. He throws a curveball. Normally it's going to be in the dirt with 2 strikes, and Lucroy blocks it perfectly.
Textbook. We're always entertained by a good block.
Yeah.
Behind the plate. That's just us. Sorry.
Doesn't appear in a box score, but
no, it should. Catcher save. I remember when I was working in the minor leagues in the Dodger system, Mike Scioscia was the Dodgers roving catching instructor, and he would have all the broadcasters and all the minor league spots do the analytics of the catcher. Catcher's ERA, throws to second, catcher blocks with men on base, catcher saves with the runner at third base.
Ahead of his time.
Rolls over one, right into the shift, and Jeanette will make the play for out number 2.
So you did that for him?
I did that. All of us, all of the broadcasters up and down the Dodgers minor league system. So it was a little strange to me that remember all the talk last year that Mike Scioscia wasn't into analytics. Jerry Dipoto, who since left, was let go and ends up actually resigned, and then he's now the GM with the Mariners. But Scioscia was always the guy who wanted all the numbers.
Now, did you keep track of that, or just guess at the end of the day?
No, I kept it. I had a little chart every day. You know who was one of the main catchers during that era was Paul LaDuca.
Mm-hmm.
Kept it all. And I engineered the radio equipment and soldered headsets.
That's when you actually had a scorebook that you kept, and
yes, the Bob Carpenter scorebook.
You don't have to do that in the major leagues anymore, apparently.
Everybody evolves, Rock.
Not everyone.
Here's Jake Marisnick, and a fly ball off the end of the bat. See if it stays playable. Nope, it's going to be in the seats. You still got your homemade scorebook going over there, huh?
I do. It's the same one I've had since the beginning. Not everybody evolves.
Is that in your book, by the way, your scorebook?
No.
So it's something that's so important to you that you left it out of your book. That's a familiar tone we've got going here.
Yeah, no picture of you and me. I knew where you were going with that.
I'm just saying.
You know, I listen to the radio. I know what you've been saying.
I've been doing a few radio spots on your behalf. Anyway, Rock wrote a book. It's called If These Walls Could Talk. And then there's a lot of other stuff. It's on the cover. Milwaukee Brewers and stories from the Milwaukee Brewers dugout, locker room, and press box. Bill Schroeder with Drew Olson.
I had some nice things to say about you in the book.
I don't read the content. This is the book. Actually, I got the copy, and I because I had no picture in it with you, I ended up drawing my own picture in my copy.
You know, hopefully there's going to be a second printing, and I'm going to make sure your picture's in there about a dozen times.
It better be. Fly ball to center. Marisnick sends Broxton back. He's got it just in front of the wall to end the inning. 3-0 Brewers. A couple of scoreless innings for Chase Anderson.
Brewers over the Astros here at Miller Park, and Carlos Gomez received a standing ovation from Brewers fans when he appeared at the plate for the first time in his return to Milwaukee since being traded to the Astros at the deadline a year ago. And before the game, Carlos Gomez said he really feels in his heart and in his mind that this is the organization where he really grew up and even made his debut. He said Milwaukee will always be a special place for him, he said, because of the patience that they showed with just allowing him to develop on his own. He said they saw the ability, they just let me play, let me be myself. And he said he was always grateful to them for that opportunity. So much so that he said he would be very much open to returning to the organization. Said he would even like to retire here for as much as the organization and the city means to him and his family.
Great thoughts. Great work today, Sophia. And Carlos holding a press conference before the game. And you could tell there's a lot of love for him in the stands. I saw a lot of Gomez jerseys, both from the Astros version of Carlos Gomez and the Brewers version of Carlos Gomez. A lot of folks coming early to see him. As Jonathan Villar muscles one past third, and a base hit for the former Astro. Jonathan Villar singles to start the inning.
Yep, just out of the reach over there of Valbuena, but they had him played very shallow in left, only a single.
Well, remember this, Rock? This was a scene a couple of years ago. A young lady named Jordan, and it went viral, made all kind of headlines, and we ended up bringing her back to throw out a ceremonial first pitch. Well, she's here tonight, and Carlos had a chance to see Jordan and her family, and the #1 Carlos Gomez fan, and he had that effect on a lot of fans around Miller Park. That's just a symbol of the kind of guy he is.
Had a great connection with the fans, and it was genuine. It really was genuine.
You know, the most important thing is he took time. Major League Baseball players have a very structured schedule, have to be in certain places at certain times, and he always made time to go sign autographs or spend some time with the fans, shaking hands, signing autographs, taking pictures. He did that a lot. Typically a couple of times a homestand, he would go make time either after batting practice or before the game after he finished warming up. So I give him a lot of credit for that.
Yep.
It's easy to get lost in your routine and forget that part of it.
Yeah, but that was part of his routine. It really was. I mean, a lot of days. I mean, he enjoyed that. I mean, it wasn't something that he dreaded doing. He just did it on his own.
Well, Feldman giving up 3 runs in the first. Jeanette and Carter with home runs. Carter's was a 2-run shot. Leadoff single here. Chase Anderson batting 8th, trying to get a bunt down. And it's going to roll foul.
It must seem like an eternity for Chase Anderson from the beginning of the season, his last time out on the mound before the season started till now, a full week, and had a lot of time to sit in that dugout and think about this start. Starting out pretty well out on the mound.
Little chat with Ed Cedar, third base coach.
Eddie's whispering to him, all right, now I'm going to pretend like I'm telling you to swing away, but continue to bunt.
Wow, you picked up all that just from watching that.
Oh yeah.
That's impressive. That's next level analysis right there. Let's see. Well, he squares early. You're right so far.
Yeah.
And now he pulls the bat back and fouls it away.
I was wrong. Eddie surprised you once in a while.
So maybe he was saying, they're going to think I'm giving you the bunt again, but I want you to swing away.
But don't hit into a double play.
And don't strike out. That's just a guess.
Yeah, they had him picked. Good throw. Might have been close.
Now the third baseman Valbuena creeping in. Anderson squares early. Another pickoff attempt. Brewers have already had 1 base runner eliminated from the base paths. Braun was thrown out trying to steal just before the Carter home run. 1 ball, 2 strikes, the count. And he bunts right through it. Got him with a curveball. Anderson unable to get the bunt down, so VR stays put. And the first out of the inning. It's a second strikeout for Feldman. Here comes Keon Broxton. He's talking to Craig Counsell about his lineup strategy, with Broxton hitting 9th and the pitcher batting 8th. And Counsell's been doing that regardless of whether Broxton is in the lineup or not, but it is structured that way primarily for Keon Broxton. Craig Counsell believes that the best place to develop a young hitter in a National League lineup is the 9-hole.
Take the pressure off of him. He becomes a second leadoff hitter once you get through the lineup one time. Maybe more guys on base for the middle of your order. Counsell has hit the pitcher 8th in every start this year except for Jimmy Nelson's start. Nelson hit 9th.
Broxton takes outside, 2 balls, no strikes. Keon came to the Brewers in the Jason Rogers trade from the Pirates. And he's going to get a chance to man center field this year. Share those duties with Ramon Flores and Kirk Neuenhuis to start the year.
That's
Ball
good.
3.
It's a good trade for the Brewers. You know, Jason Rogers, good hitter, but there's really no place to play him other than first base. You get Chris Carter, and you get a very athletic center fielder in Keon Broxton with a ton of upside.
Taking all the way. 3 balls and a strike. Rogers was hoping to go to Pittsburgh and have a chance to be the everyday third baseman, and did going into spring training, but they signed David Freese, and David Freese is back in the Central Division, and he ends up at third base for the Pirates. There's a swing and a miss. VR on the move, throw to second in time.
Perfect.
Jason Castro is gunning down Brewers.
Yeah,
that's his second.
Beautiful throw, right on the money. It had to be perfect. If that throws at least a foot off the bag, it's going to be a stolen base for VR. But check this out. But Altuve doesn't even have to move his glove. Unreal. That's a great throw. It had to be perfect, and it was.
It was a breaking ball as well. Altuve puts the tag right on the hand. That's where the argument of a feet first slide comes in. That's a much more difficult tag if you're coming in cleats first.
He might be able to knock the ball out of his glove with the cleats.
So the inning changes now. 2 outs, 3-2 is the count on Broxton. And there's ball 4. The second walk issued by Feldman, and a 2-out base runner to turn it over. By the way, if you're looking for the Milwaukee Bucks, they are just starting the second half on the Fox Sports Wisconsin alternate channel, depending on your carrier. Those are the channels listed there. Or you can check foxsportswisconsin.com for others not listed. So the Bucks are on the alternate channel, while the Brewers here on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Double your pleasure tonight on the Fox Wisconsin family.
Do they still have picture-in-picture?
Sure. Oh yeah. As in they, you meaning like the television makers, or?
No, I don't know if I still have it or not. I never use it. That would be a time to use it, though.
So Santana takes a ball. You just click on the last button.
Right. Or I have 2 TVs.
That's an option. You can always go to Fox Sports Go as well.
Right.
Remember when Picture in Picture came out? I thought that I had died and gone to heaven.
You were enjoying the second screen experience before there was such a thing.
Man, I'm telling you. That's great.
And there goes Broxton, and Castro's throw to second, and the feet first slide knocks the ball right out of Altuve's hands. That's the way you're going hard at second base.
Yeah, that ball sailed on Castro just a little bit. That throw had to be perfect as well. It was not, and Broxton able to steal it. Let's see if Altuve even gets this baseball. Does it hit Broxton? Yeah, it hits Broxton right in the leg.
So Broxton with his first steal as a Brewer, just his second as a major leaguer.
He stole 6 bases in spring training.
Third try is a charm for the Brewers. After Castro cut down the first 2 trying to steal, now Santana with a chance to drive in a run here and add to the Brewers lead. Santana down the left field line. That is down for a hit. To the wall it goes. In the score is Broxton. And Domingo Santana with an RBI double makes it 4-0 Milwaukee.
Yeah, got on top of that pitch and ripped it down the line. Yeah, so the stolen base double gives the Brewers a 4-0 lead. It was a fastball in. He just pulls the hands in and hits a rocket. And one hops the left field fence, and Ken Broxton kind of just cruises into home plate with a 2-out double by Santana, and to extend the Brewers lead.
Santana's off to a great start with runners in scoring position. He's now 3 for 5, and he gives the Brewers a run here in the second. He's at second for Jeanette, who took the first pitch he saw in the first inning and delivered it into the Loge level in deep right center field.
He has a fastball, so Feldman starts him with a curve. I'll tell you, Santana's got quick hands on the inside corner. My goodness.
A strike. Ball and a strike on Jeanette. Brewers offense is humming along early here against Scott Feldman. Already 5 hits and 4 runs. And some extra base hits as well, with 2 homers and a double now. Castro wants to get the sign straight with Feldman.
It was a curveball and then a changeup, and they can't decide what they want to do on the 1-1 pitch. So remember, you threw him a cutter that didn't do a whole lot, and he hit it out of the ballpark. Just as a reminder, not that he needs to be reminded.
Quick trip to the mound for Castro. Can be a lonely place on a pitcher's mound when you're struggling and things aren't clicking. You're having a hard time getting the sequencing that you want. And Jeanette pops it up, got in on his hands this time. Correa is back. He'll make the call, and that will retire the side. But the Brewers go small ball to get it going. Broxton steals a base, and then Santana, the former Astro, drives him in with a 2-out RBI. Brewers lead 4-0 with 2 in the books.
Brewers and the Astros in the opener of this 3-game series. The Brewers off to a 4-0 lead. And in our Let's Motor player profile brought to you by BMW Mini, we take a look at right fielder Domingo Santana. His hometown, Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic, acquired by the Brewers in that Carlos Gomez and Mike Fiers trade at the deadline a year ago. You see the numbers, 41 games for him with the Brewers, 6 home runs, all of those coming a year ago, and tacking on an RBI double here in the last inning. BA.
All right, Sophia, thanks. Sophia's about ready for another trip to the Dominican Republic after her Emmy award-winning reporting from the Dominican.
Yeah, good stuff.
Great stories that she had. It'd be fun to track Domingo Santana, see where he came from, and he's been a nice fit here in Milwaukee. Feldman, the pitcher, leads off, and Chase Anderson makes quick work of him. So out number 1. And Sophia, I know you had a chance to sit down with Domingo. What can you tell us about him, maybe off the field, that we don't know?
Well, he actually grew up playing the trombone, so that's kind of a fun fact.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Said he would probably have to get a new mouthpiece now. He's a little rusty on the trombone right now, but something that he grew up doing, and grew up in Santo Domingo in a neighborhood not too far from where Manny Ramirez grew up. So he said that was his favorite player growing up, like so many Dominican kids growing up there.
You asked and she knew. Was that surprise you?
I knew she's all over it. I didn't see a trombone player when I looked at the profile of Domingo Santana. I had other thoughts.
Guitar, maybe?
Yeah.
Drums?
Yeah. You know,
how about you? What position, what instrument did you play?
No, you know, the recorder? That's about where it ended for me.
Your parents didn't make you play an instrument for a little while?
No. I brought a recorder to school. Altuve rolls one foul. Except the problem is I brought a tape recorder the first day.
Yeah, okay.
I didn't know there was another kind of recorder.
Yeah, you could have gone pro, couldn't you?
I was thinking about going pro. Then I actually brought the other recorder, like the Pied Piper. That's got a beautiful sound, doesn't it? All you parents out there listening to your kids play the recorder. Just when you hit those notes.
Yep.
My music career ended in 6th grade. I got you as a tuba player. Is that right?
No. Trumpet.
Trumpet?
Yeah, you know why I picked the trumpet? I mean, I've told this story 100 times. It's only got 3 keys on it. I figured it had to be easy.
Altuve out to Jeanette.
Forget the saxophone. That's just too complicated.
Such a little instrument for such a large human, though. I mean, you got to, like, I'd like you on the bass drum or the tuba.
That wasn't very good. I didn't practice enough. It was always outside.
Mm-hmm. Trumpets work outside, I think. Those 3 keys.
Yeah. That's why I decided to play the trumpet. My parents made us play an instrument. My brother played the clarinet. I picked I went into the music store and I said, which one of these looks like the easiest one to play?
Have you more as a bugle guy?
Yeah, close. If they had one there, I would have picked it. No keys.
No keys. Springer takes a strike. That low strike has been called tonight.
Yeah.
That's a good spot to live if you're a major league pitcher.
Yeah, big shift with Scooter on the third base side of the bag. Straight up in the outfield.
Hits it again.
There it is. It's been a strike all night, first 3 innings. That's the pitch that Santana got rung up on his first time up.
So Springer in a hole 1 and 2. Curveball this time from Anderson. Lucroy blocks it again. It's always important to block with 2 strikes. You never know if he's going to swing or not.
Yeah, 2 strikes on a hitter, 3 balls on a hitter. And anytime there's somebody on base, right?
And all that effort would be completely ignored if it wasn't for Bill Schroeder. 2-2 now. And he got him. Chase Anderson strikes out Springer again. Got him on a changeup. We're going to visit with David Stearns, a new Brewers general manager, when we continue.
Head to the bottom of the third inning and round up the family and head to the ballpark this Sunday afternoon as the Brewers and Astros wrap up their weekend series, and all fans in attendance get a 1980s vintage Brewer bobblehead courtesy of Chevrolet. Reserve your spot today at Brewers.com.
So here we go to the bottom of the third inning, and Ryan Braun will lead off for the Brew Crew. Brewers got 3 in the first, added 1 last inning. Got a 2-out RBI from Santana last inning. And Jeanette and Carter with home runs in the first. Braun walked his first time up. 4 runs on 5 hits already. First of 3 with the Astros. First time the Astros have been at Miller Park since 2012, when they were still in the same division as the Brewers. This is an interleague matchup. Still feels strange to say, but the Astros, as an American League team, they dominated the National League last year. 16-4, Rob, against National League opponents last year. Braun pops it up, got in on his hands a little bit. And who's calling it? That's Altuve. A little basket catch for out number 1.
That's a good ball club. I mean, the Astros got off to a terrific start last year. They were 17-8 to start the year. Actually 18-7. And then, you know, after that really good start, they were pretty much 500 the rest of the way. So that good start propelled them to the postseason. Good team. It was all about pitching last year. Now they've got some offense going. Good athletic team.
And still a very good minor league system. So they took their lumps. A couple of 100 loss seasons. The Brewers are hoping it doesn't take quite as long as it did for Houston to get back to contention. David Stearns is coming, we were told.
Yeah, he'll be here.
He'll be here at some point.
Maybe on the phones.
He is a big league general manager, so he's probably got a lot more important things to do.
Right.
A 1 pitch. Lucroy takes upstairs.
Yeah, but we were talking about on the open in 2013, the Astros only won 51 games. Last year, 86 and 76. That's a 35-game turnaround in 2 years. Not bad.
And still, the Astros, one of the youngest teams, especially with the position players on the roster. Lucroy pops it up. Valbuena will give it a look, but it's in the seats. If you take just the position players of the Astros and the Brewers, you're looking at 2 of the 4 youngest teams in baseball. The Diamondbacks are the youngest. 26 years, 352 days, so almost 27 years. And then the Twins, and then the Brewers and the Astros.
Oh, and Jose Altuve is only 25 years old. He seems like he's been around for what, 4 or 5 years. Maybe he has. Young kid, can hit. He can pick it. And he's got some players around him now. I would have thought he was a little bit older.
Arrived early. He's a 21-year-old. 2-2 on the way. And Lucroy fouls it back.
That first year for Altuve, 2011.
We got a call from the ivory tower, by the way.
And
David Stearns, bottom 4.
Did he call you?
No, no. No, that's not a phone call that is ever made. It's a guy to a guy to a guy to a guy.
Because I know if they called you, you wouldn't answer.
2-2 pitch. Ground ball to Correa. And the slick fielding shortstop for out number 2. That's not true. I always answer when you call.
Yep.
Speaking of calling, This week only, T-Mobile customers can get a free season-long subscription to MLB.TV Premium. Go to T-Mobile.com/MLB to sign up now, and you can catch every moment on America's fastest-growing LTE network. You can make a call, you can watch baseball on your smartphone. Chris Carter with 2 away. Carter in the first inning facing his old mates. Good way to get started. A breaking ball, and he did not miss. Powerball home run number 2 of the season for Carter.
Yep, hang him and bang him. That's what they say. That was a hanging curve.
Back-to-back games with home runs for Carter. Hit his first against the Giants on Wednesday afternoon.
Chris Carter, one of those guys, when he gets a hold of one to the left, Bernie's going to have to be alive out there in the chalet. In the dugout, he can reach him up there.
Looks fun until you're up there. It's a little frightening.
Yeah.
For the average man. Bernie's got his retro Brewer gear on tonight. He's got the throwback Bernie Brewer attire. What are you smiling at? 2-2. Carter slices it foul. Those are the numbers. Career against Scott Feldman. 3 for 3, 2 homers. After being his teammate the last 2 years. See what he gives him. 2-2. Tried to hit that spot down low in the zone. That's been an open door for home plate umpire Tom Howyan. Well, now Carter's worked it full. The shift is on, and Altuve is right there. 3 up, 3 down inning for Feldman and the Astros. So we are headed to the 4th. Brewers 4, Houston 0. Park. Brewers up 4-0, and Aaron Hill has an early entry for player and play of the year. This was from Wednesday afternoon on this pop-up by Brandon Belt. Look how far he runs. He goes 80.9 feet, and then as Posey is tagging, A perfect strike to the plate. Ends up as a double play to get out of the first inning.
Yeah, tremendous range going straight back. That's a tough play. Right over the shoulder, and then had the presence of mind to stop and able to make a good throw into home plate. Tremendous. And Aaron Hill hasn't played a whole lot of third base, but he's looked pretty good so far.
Second base is his most comfortable position, but looking forward to a chance to play third every day. And he's been excellent. Diving stops. He's had some backhanded picks. That over the shoulder catch. Carlos Correa leading off for the Astros in the fourth, and Anderson hits the edge. Dangerous bat at the plate. Correa showed he could hit on the big stage as well. Last year against the Royals in the division series, he had 7 hits in the 5 games. And a bullet, but the shift is on, and Jeanette is right there. And the defensive shifting pays off for Chase Anderson.
Yep, chalk up another one. Taking away another base hit. Look at Scooter laughing. That ball ate him up. And he was way almost on the grass out there. Check him out. The heels are on the grass. Look how hard Correa hits this baseball. Almost gets a piece of Anderson. But the Brewers able to get the out.
So 1 away, and Jeanette's still laughing. And here's Luis Valbuena now. A lot of talk about defense today. Sophia has got a little more on Aaron Hill. What do you have, Sophia?
Well, as you guys said on that Hill play that he made on Wednesday, he went 80.9 feet to make the catch, which is the longest by a third baseman on record. And Craig Counsell after the game said, you're going to go a while before you see a play that tops that one. He said it was so incredibly difficult. He thought that when Hill went back to make the catch, there was no chance that he would get the runner at the plate. But said it's hard to be accurate with that throw for as hard as you're running to get out there to make the play. Said it was just spectacular.
And then you think about he's probably 10 feet from the bag. So if you just do the quick math here, that's I mean, that's you're talking about a 180, 170 foot throw. I don't know exactly where he started, but that's a long throw off your back foot.
And it's a strike right to Lucroy, and he was going about full speed as he could going back like that and able to stop very quickly. And set himself and make a good throw. It's incredible what these guys can do in a baseball field. You don't really appreciate it until you're down there and watch them right down there up close and personal. All the ground that they cover.
Little half swing by Valbuena. And he's out. Chase Anderson had him fooled. 2 up and 2 down here. And Anderson has retired 6 in a row. Make it 7 in a row now for Carlos Gomez. Gomez struck out his first time up. Anderson dropped a changeup on the outside corner on a 3-2 pitch. Hit hard right center. Broxton, long way to go. Can't get there. One hopper off the wall. Gomez racing around the bags. And he'll pull up into second base with a double. Wasting no time this at bat.
Yeah, he took that pitch down and away and just went right with it. The ball had some carry on it. A bullet. One hop off the wall out there in right center. Good contact, and he and Broxton able to get it, and Gomez with a 2-out double.
And a little dabble, do you?
Little
From
theatrics.
Gomez.
That's the way the game is these days. That's okay.
It was always fun when he was in a Brewers uniform. Now it's so insulting. I mean, I'm insulted. Are you insulted?
Now it's not funny.
It's not fun anymore.
No.
Here's Tyler White. Boy, somebody's got to figure out how to cool this guy off. 7 hits in his first 10 at-bats in the big leagues. 2 doubles, a homer. He's driven in 4. All 4 of those came yesterday.
Yeah, ripped a changeup off the left field fence. His first time up.
2 outs, runner at second. Had him out in front. Dribbles it foul. That's got to be a great feeling, though, to be A, in the big leagues, B, see your name in the lineup every day, and C, to look up at the Giants scoreboard and see a batting average of 700.
Yeah. Well, I experienced one out of those three.
You can't speak as an expert on the last two.
Not every day you're hitting 700. Nope.
It is an interesting batting stance. It has to give a pitcher a little bit of pause because he's leaning over, open stance, but hunched over right on top of the plate.
If you didn't know any better, you'd think that's Evan Gattis up there. I mean, very similar body styles, but similar stances at the plate.
Looks like there's a lot of room, but look how close the back foot is to the plate.
Yeah, that's where you determine how close the guy is, because watch the front foot as the pitch comes.
I saw a picture of Evan Gattis, by the way. He's clean shaven now. He doesn't even look like the same guy. He's in a Double-A on a rehab assignment. Lower body injuries, a sports hernia surgery. He's
going
trying to
against
come back.
the trend.
Yeah.
He had the beard when it wasn't popular.
He said it. Now he's trying to set a new one. I don't blame him. You see how close White is. That back foot. Gomez takes off. Inside move. They got him. Gomez in a rundown. Uh-oh. Gomez can stay in these for a long time. And the Brewers are making way too many throws here. And another throw, and he runs out of gas. Wow. That was entertaining. Gomez, an out to end it. Good move, Chase Anderson. And a caught stealing. David Stearns is coming, we promise, as we head to the bottom of the fourth. On to the fourth inning, and the Brewers lead the Astros 4-0. And David Stearns joins us, Brewers general manager. This is a perfect series for you to join us for the first time, as David came from the Houston Astros organization as their assistant general manager. I'm dying to know what is going through your mind now and all day and leading up to this series.
I'm hoping we beat them 3 straight games. That's what's going through my mind. But it's always fun to see these guys. We had a chance to catch up back in Houston in a little bit more relaxed atmosphere during an exhibition series, and to see these guys again today was great. But obviously, during the regular season, it counts, and everyone's a little bit more serious today. So good to see them, but hopefully we can take 3 straight and send them home a little bit sadder than when they showed up.
Now, is there more of a scouting report than normal because you are so connected to this organization?
I offered a few tidbits of my observations of some of the players in Houston, but we've got a really good advanced scouting group that does a tremendous job each series. They break down video, they break down all the numbers, and so they were plenty prepared without much of my input.
Yeah, what was it like last year in Houston? I mean, you've been around there for that whole season. The way they were able to, turn things around pretty quickly. What was it like over there in Houston?
It was fun. We probably came into the year internally with higher expectations than what was out there externally. We thought we had taken some fairly significant steps forward the year before, even if it may not have translated wins-loss records. We thought we had some real talent on our major league team and a lot of talent coming behind it. So we went into the season thinking we had a chance and got off to a great start, and they were able to ride that all the way to the playoffs.
So tell us what your thoughts are. The first 3+ games here with the Brewers. Miller Park's packed, a good crowd tonight. How do you feel like the season's starting out for you guys?
Starting from opening day, the support's been outstanding. To see the type of crowds and enthusiasm we've had throughout the week has been great. I think save for 2 or 3 innings on that first game, we played really quality baseball throughout, and I'm pleased. And particularly encouraging is the performance of our starting pitching staff throughout. And Jimmy Nelson, Chase Anderson tonight, Taylor Youngman gutted it through 5 innings the other night. So we're getting deeper into ball games. We're allowing Craig to match up the bullpen the way he wants, and if we keep doing that, we're going to win plenty of games.
It's been kind of a challenge for you with your bullpen. You had Knable and disabled Will Smith, but those guys have come up big in the last couple of games.
They have. We're going to ask guys to pitch in roles that they're not accustomed to at this point. We need guys to step up. We expect that we will have guys who step up, and obviously losing Will and Corey late in camp hurt, but we have guys behind them, and we believe we have guys with stuff who are going to be able to pitch in high leverage innings.
Visiting with David Stearns, Brewers' new general manager. Just getting the season started here. I'm curious to know the dynamic of the trade from your perspective. The Astros and the Brewers made a significant trade that you may or may not turn into be a franchise-changing trade for the Milwaukee Brewers, but you were on the other side of that. So what were your thoughts about the players you as an Astros assistant GM were giving up at the time?
Well, I'm certainly glad to sit in this seat and have all the young talent that we have now in the organization, and some of it from that trade with the Astros last summer. At the time, from the Houston perspective that we were making that trade, we looked at it as a fair trade for both sides. Organizations in different places. The Astros were looking to bolster a team that was competing for a playoff spot, acquired 2 guys who were going to help it immediately, and the price was steep. The price for that was steep, and it should have been. And certainly glad we have those players over here now.
So Mike Fiers there threw a no-hitter for the Astros last year. That was quite the moment for him, and Carlos Gomez, of course, a fan favorite here. And so now Domingo Santana is in Milwaukee, but the other 3 that we saw in that graphic are all at AA Biloxi. And we got Hader and Hauser as VR draws the walk, and Brett Phillips. So Brewers fans haven't had a chance to see a lot of these guys yet, but Josh Hader pitching last night, getting his AA season started. What can you tell us about some of these guys from the Astros system that are here now?
Well, Josh did a good job last night. We got to see him some in Major League camp this spring, and he's left-handed with a really live arm, pitches off his fastball very well, and we expect him to continue to develop as a starter and ultimately start in the big leagues, and he's certainly an exciting guy to continue to watch. Brett Phillips is a true center fielder. Was one of the top prospects in baseball at the time of the trade last year. Very excited to have him, and then we know what Domingo can do. We're seeing him every day in right field. Adrian Hauser is a right-handed pitcher with a big arm. Can start or relieve. He's going to continue to develop as a starter, and we'll see where that takes him. But 4 really promising young players, 4 players that we expect will play in the big leagues, and that's quite a haul for any single trade.
Did you know right away when you had Domingo over here he was going to be your leadoff hitter this year? I mean, he's doing a pretty good job. I mean, getting on base, showing some patience.
He is doing a great job, and I give Craig a ton of credit for thinking outside of the box a little bit in terms of the type of player he wanted at the top of the lineup, how he wanted to structure the lineup as a whole. And given our roster formulation right now, Domingo is a really strong candidate to have up there.
Seems to me that a guy like Santana, I mean, there's got to be some numbers that equate to a leadoff hitter, because he had never hit leadoff, so it's not something you can go look at from his career. But what was it specifically that you guys felt good about him being your leadoff hitter to start the year?
Well, from a general sense, you want hitters that get on base to hit at the top of the lineup. And Domingo is someone who has gotten on base throughout his minor league career. Once he came over here in the trade last year, he did a very nice job of getting on base as well. he gets on base fairly equally between lefties and righties. So it wasn't a situation where Craig was going to have to jumble and juggle the top of his lineup depending on who we were facing. So we felt comfortable with him at the top. Craig wants to run with it, and I give him a ton of credit for doing it.
Visiting with David Stearns, Brewers general manager in his first season here in Milwaukee. Chase Anderson in an 0-2 count, trying to get a bunt down, and he bunts through it.
David, it's got to feel good for you. I mean, all the preparation in the offseason, and then you go through spring training trying to put together your roster. Now you have the regular season. You sit back and watch. You evaluate talent down in the minor leagues. But is it what you expected it would be?
It is, and this is the fun part of the year for us. We're in this game because we love baseball. We love watching baseball. We love being around the game every single night. And so to get through the offseason, get through spring training, we've had a lot of transition throughout the organization, and now to have our 25 guys and let them go compete every night. It's fun for us to watch. Hopefully we'll continue to play strong and consistent baseball, and we'll see where that takes us.
Can you sit and watch these games and relax, or are you always thinking about what the next move is?
You're always thinking about what the next move is. I'll say, from my perspective, the games are the most relaxing time of the day because it's completely out of my control at that point. So I try to enjoy it, but we're always churning. We're always thinking about something, so it's never quite sit back with a beer time.
Here's Keon Broxton with 2 away. Mostly I'm concerned about your fiance coming to Milwaukee in April, and there's snow on the ground every day. Is everything going okay there?
So far, so good. Fortunately, she took a flight back to Houston 2 days ago and missed the snow, which may have been wise for both of us.
But you just didn't tell her about it, right?
I have not told her about it. Hopefully, she's not watching right now. But it's she's really enjoyed her time up here. She can't wait to get up here full time. She's excited to be part of the community. So looking forward to the end of the month when she moves up here for good.
That's good. She's going to love it here, and I know folks are welcoming you with open arms. Hardly able to walk around town anymore. You were able to kind of sneak around anonymously until you started making a lot of trades and being in the news every day. So times are changing here, and I tell you, as a general manager, and I've heard this from so many different people, but to have the roof in this part of the country, it is a huge advantage and a selling point.
It really is. I was in Cleveland, and obviously they do not have a roof there, and the hurdles you have to go through to get games in, the rain delays are constant this time of year, and to have the advantage of knowing that we're going to start every single night on time, that we're going to get 9 innings, it's a huge advantage from a baseball perspective. Obviously, from a fan perspective, we need it here, and it's really wonderful to have.
Brewers up 4-0 on the Astros. Broxton in a hitter's count. One of the moves that David Stearns negotiated, getting Broxton from the Pirates. So all the moves that have been made, what do you think about Keon Broxton, and why was he on your target list this season?
So far, he's done more or less what we expected him to do. He's an athletic center fielder. He's a good defender, an above-average base runner. He took a large step forward offensively last year and seemed to carry that forward through parts of spring training this year. And so we're excited to see what he can do on this field facing quality pitching every single night. And that'll be the test for him. But so far, we believe he's going to be able to handle it. So
interesting hearing all the thoughts about Broxton as the yard takes off and a strikeout to end the inning. So Feldman has settled in, a couple of scoreless innings. And David, great job. We always love catching up, especially when you're facing your old team.
Anytime, guys.
And
Thanks a
you're
lot.
ahead, right? Yeah, thank you.
David Stearns, Brewers general manager. Baseball on Fox Sports Wisconsin is brought to you by Hupy and Abraham. 1-800-800-5678. Hupy and Abraham. Tell them you mean business. Roof is closed on a very cold April night in Milwaukee. Nice and warm inside Miller Park, though. 4-0 our score. The Brewers lead it. Chase Anderson with 4 shutout innings. Tyler White was at the plate with Gomez at second. Last inning, Gomez was caught stealing officially. By the way, Rock, we got the official putout situation for that. It goes 1 to 5 to 4 to 1 to 5 to 6 to 7. Ryan Braun puts the tag on him.
It's supposed to be one throw to get a guy on the rundown, but that's like a phone number right there.
There were 6 throws.
You put 414 in front of you, might ring that one up, and you might get somebody on the other line.
That might be your new tavern of the game.
You should ask David what he thought about that rundown.
I didn't figure there was enough time. We do appreciate David Stearns coming up. We're going to try to do that once a homestand, catch up with a front office member to get some knowledge, find out about what's going on in the minor leagues, and if there are trades pending. David's been great.
Yeah.
With he's honest. He tells you what he can.
Right.
He can't tell you everything,
Yeah.
but we ask him what we can, and he gives us some good insights.
As we get through the season, I think the information on the minor league is going to be interesting.
The arm slipped and fell and made a great throw, but White is safe. Boy.
Well, he's got an arm, doesn't he?
That was something special right there.
Craig Counsell might want to take a look at that one. Counsell has been up on that top step a couple of times. Has decided against doing the replay, but boy, that's pretty close. Boy, some kind of arm for VR. Check this out. Boy, that's a bang bang. I don't know if there's enough to overturn that call.
Safe is the call. Got to be convincing evidence. Used to be in the first year replay, managers had to go out to the calling umpire. They changed that rule, which is better.
Number of very close calls that the umpires have been able to get right. You can see barely, it looks like White's foot on the bag before Carter has the baseball.
Wow. That ball had some finishing kick. Did you see where Carter caught that ball?
Yeah, kind of handcuffed. Yeah, I know.
From that far.
He's got a tremendous arm, man. He might have the second best arm on the team. Yadiel Rivera's got a cannon. We haven't seen him play yet.
So that's going to go as an infield hit, and the season of Tyler White continues. His 8th hit of the year already.
Yeah, if he doesn't slip, he's got an out. Look at this throw. Boom. Wow.
Jason Castro now.
But again, I think following these minor leaguers that we've been hearing so much about throughout the season is going to be a lot of fun. We'll get the guys from the minor league department and come up and give us some updates. Matt Arnold, assistant general manager. Tyler White doesn't look like a base stealer.
I'm thinking you could focus on the hitter here until proven otherwise. Shift is on for Castro. Right in on the knuckles. That fastball came in at 93 miles an hour.
And it appears a lot quicker when you consider all the changeups that he's been throwing. Changeups, curveballs. He's got the 2-seamer, and then you bust the 4-seamer in on your hands, and it appears a lot quicker.
A couple of years ago, Chase Anderson had to deal with triceps injury that affected the velocity a little bit last year. He had a really good rookie season. Established himself as a bona fide big league starter with the Diamondbacks 2 years ago.
Nice block.
See, you just mark it right on the sheet.
That's 4.
Just what Sosha asked for. It's not that hard.
That's the way he tucks the chin into the chest protector. It goes down, squares it up, and keeps it close. New mask for Luke this year.
Yeah, try to protect him a little bit more from the concussion. A foul tip right into the middle. Lucroy, a strikeout.
And that was right down the middle. Castro upset with himself.
5th strikeout for Chase Anderson, first out of the inning. Time now for our Carsoup.com trivia question. It's a good one today. Al Downing surrendered Hank Aaron's historic home run that passed Babe Ruth. Which 4 MLB teams did he play for, Al Downing? Today is the anniversary, the 42nd anniversary of Hank Aaron's historic home run. April 8th, 1974.
Yep.
Great moment in not just baseball history, great moment in American history as well. And it's hard to even think about what Hank Aaron went through and all the hate mail, the hate letters, the threats, death threats.
Went through a lot.
It's an iconic record that stood, that Babe Ruth had set, the 714 home runs. And Hank Aaron, the greatest home run hitter of all time. Might not be statistically, but he still is.
Yep.
For
home
us here in Milwaukee, he's the home run king.
Yep. He and Bob Uecker are very close teammates. I believe that that record-setting home run was hit. Remember when they had Monday Night Baseball?
I do remember that.
And Al Downing served it up.
Fulton County Stadium in Atlanta. And that home run was actually called by Milo Hamilton, who is in the Hall of Fame, the late Milo Hamilton, who ended up as the Astros play-by-play announcer for years. Great moment in time. 2 balls, 1 strike with 1 away.
Hey, remember that season? Hank had a home run on opening day in Cincinnati, Jack Billingham, and then they sat him for 2 days until the team went back to Atlanta. He played that game, hit the home run, so flair for the dramatic.
Hit it at home.
Yeah.
Well, Hank's such a presence here in Milwaukee. Had his final home run here as a member of the Brewers. And of course, his first home run came here in Milwaukee as a member of the Milwaukee Braves. Still a plaque out there on the parking lot for his final home run, 755. Statue out there.
Takes over every time he walks into the room. Very quiet. He commands a lot of respect, and he should.
Two and two to Marisnik. Long fly out his last time up, and that one's high in the air to left, sending Braun back to the track. And 2 long loud outs for Marisnik, second out of the inning. This was the moment. April 8th against Al Downing, 1974. Home run number 715. And I can't even imagine what was going through his mind when those guys ran on the field. Check out the guy in the trench coat right there.
Yeah.
That's Craig Sager, our buddy Craig Sager. I talked to Craig today. He was in Turks and Caicos. He worked an NBA game last night. I called him up. I said, hey, it's the anniversary. He said, oh, is it April 8th? He said he was a 22-year-old reporter that year, making $95 a week in Sarasota, and he asked his program manager if he could go cover the Braves that night. Braves were an affiliate, and his boss told Sager, he said, well, if you don't make it back by the morning show, you're fired. You can do whatever you want.
You're on your own.
So he went, and he actually got all of the sound. You saw he was on the field first. He was on the third base dugout all by himself. All the photographers were on the first base side. And all of that sound that Craig Sager, as a 22-year-old reporter, got with Hank's mother, Hank Aaron's father, Hank himself. Nobody had it because they were waiting for a presentation. And all of that sound in the moment came from Craig Sager, and you can hear all of that at the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. Craig Sager got a lifetime pass to the Baseball Hall of Fame for offering up those little tapes of that sound that he acquired that night.
Yeah.
It's a really cool story. And we're thinking about Craig Sager. Sager strong. Glad to see him working again. I know Sophia and all the sideline reporters across the NBA decked out in their wild outfits to honor Craig Sager. Rasmus pinch hitting, and Lucroy's got a play, and he makes the play to end the inning. Had to get around the umpire, finds the ball and makes the catch to end it. And Rasmus, the pinch hitter, retired, and Chase Anderson has 5 shutouts.
Lead for the Brewers over the Astros here in the 5th, and the Brewers are asking students from across greater Milwaukee to create a commercial with a positive message designed to help strike out bullying. The winning entry will receive a grand prize, which includes a visit from Brewers players, as well as tickets, apparel, and transportation to a game here at Miller Park. You have until April 25th to participate, so be sure to visit brewers.com/beyondthediamond for more information.
All right, Sophia, thanks. Astros making a couple of changes. Colby Rasmus will stay in after his pinch hit appearance. He'll play left field. Marisnik is out, and a double switch here. Or actually not a double switch, but he keeps Rasmus in the spot, and then he brings on Chris Davinsky, does A.J. Hinch. And Davinsky, Rock, is making his major league debut.
Well, he's been with the team from the beginning this year, and finally able to get into a game. I mean, it's got to be nerve-wracking for a guy to be sitting out in that bullpen for so long, finally getting an opportunity, and he's got to deal with the Brewers' top of the order.
Domingo Santana will start it, and Davinsky, you'll never forget this moment. And he'll share a moment with Hank Aaron. That's pretty cool. On the global scale, not as significant, but
to him it is.
For Chris Davinsky, it means the world.
He was in Corpus Christi AA last year. Yes, 24 appearances, 17 starts, and a 3.01 earned run average. So going from AA to the big leagues.
2 balls and a strike. Brewers lead 4-0. Chase Anderson pitching a gem thus far. Wow, that is nasty.
That just goes to show you how much stock that you have to put into spring training. Craig Counsell not worried at all about Chase Anderson, even though through his struggles in spring training. And having a whale of a start here tonight is Chase Anderson.
Anderson with 5 strikeouts through his 5 shutout. 3-2 pitch. Santana takes a call. Strike 3. So his first batter faced in the big leagues, and Davinsky has a strikeout. What a way to start your major league career.
Yeah, 2 strikeouts for Santana, both of them looking. And once again, right at the bottom of the strike zone. And Tom Hallion's been very consistent with that call tonight. That low strike rings him up.
Seems like, you know, to our view, it looks a little lower, some of these pitches, because Castro sits back a little bit from home plate. So by the time it gets to him, he's catching it a lot lower. But the strike box, if the imaginary window, if you will, is at the front of the plate. That's what umpires are trained to look through. They're imagining that strike zone coming off the front of that plate.
Yep. Yeah, but it's not often that you know, umpires. I mean, it pretty much is dictated where he catches it. But
Jeanette into the shift. That's Correa on that side, the shortstop, and 2 outs now.
Catchers have a lot to do with you know, these marginal pitches being called balls and strikes. I mean, if you have a good, you know, pitch framer like a Lucroy, I mean, you're going to be getting those marginal pitches. We saw that with Buster Posey in the first series. You can steal some strikes if you catch them right.
Here's Ryan Braun with 2 away. But you will never hear that from a major league umpire. They always will tell you, we just call the strikes strikes and the balls balls.
You're listening to Bruce Fleming too much.
That's what we do. We don't even see the catcher catching. And they have to be trusted.
And Fox Tracks, you know, pretty much proves the umpires right 99% of the time.
They are the best of the arbiters in all of professional sports.
Without a doubt.
Think about how many calls they make. Unlike other sports, there's a call on every play.
And they don't get the luxury of a no call.
Can't say good no call, right?
Right.
You can't eat your whistle.
Fair or foul, safe or out, ball or strike, right?
Hitters count for Braun. Facing the kid, making his major league debut.
Doing a lot of changeups, fastball, curveball, changeup for Davinsky.
It's got to be a little unusual to pick up. He falls off the mound so far toward the first base side.
He looks like he's going to be bringing it in there at about 100 miles an hour, right? The way he gives it all he's got. Throwing strikes in his major league debut.
And Braun pops it up a mile high. Almost hits the roof up there, and it's Valbuena to make the catch. So Davinsky, a 1-2-3 inning in his big league debut. Brewers still lead it 4-0. Milwaukee Brewers baseball on Fox Sports Wisconsin is brought to you by Miller Lite, the original light Pilsner. Cheers, it's Miller time. And by the Wisconsin Lottery, reminding you to please play responsibly. Chilly night, downtown Milwaukee. And inside Miller Park, roof is all closed up. By the way, baseball's coming back to FS1. The Dodgers and the Giants tomorrow. And it's all on America's home for baseball all season long, FS1. Or you can watch it live on Fox Sports Go. Well, we got an early theme developing with Craig Counsell. Pitchers going pretty well, but pulling the plug early. We saw it with Taylor Youngman, and now Chase Anderson is out after 5 innings, giving way to Carlos Torres as we go to the 6th.
They have 5 shutout innings, maybe pitch count, you don't know, but Carlos Torres taking over. His second appearance. He pitched last year with the Mets, actually last 3 years with the Mets. Last year 59 appearances and a .468 earned run average. 85 pitches for Chase Anderson tonight.
Youngman was removed after 80 pitches on Wednesday. A lot of it has to do, just listening to the comments of Craig Counsell after Wednesday's game, more to do with the 3rd time through the batting order this early in the season and trying to get his starters stretched out a little more methodically. Altuve over to 3rd base, and Aaron Hill makes the play for out number 1.
Yeah, which is why it's probably good the Brewers have 8 relievers in their bullpen with Matt Garza on a disabled list. They don't need a 5th starter until, what is it, the 15th? So they're only going with 4 starters. That affords Counsell the luxury of having an extra reliever in the bullpen. And when your starter's only going 5 innings, that's a good thing.
So heavy on the bullpen again tonight. Might see Sam Freeman tonight, whom the Brewers acquired from the Rangers. This is his 2nd day in a Brewer uniform. There's Sam. Excited to get his Brewers portion of his big league career going.
Yeah, but what a tremendous start for Chase Anderson. And a lot of questions going out of spring training based on his spring and how he was pitching in spring training. And Counsell was very committed. He was steadfast in saying that Anderson's his 5th starter, and boy, did he come through for him tonight.
Against a very good hitting team too, the Astros. 5 shutout for Anderson, 5 strikeouts, didn't walk a batter. Springer, 2 of those 5 Anderson strikeouts. He's glad to see the Brewers right-hander out. Torres, a late sign by the Brewers. There's a shot right to the shortstop, VR, with the shift on, and out number 2.
Oh, he's got soft hands. He's a good one out there at shortstop. Wow. Hey, the action continues at Miller Park tomorrow at 6 o'clock as Willie Peralta takes the hill for the Crew in game 2 of their 3-game interleague set with the Astros. Great seats are still available, so call 414-902-4000 or go to brewers.com for tickets.
Carlos Correa with 2 away. This is the exact scenario you want Correa batting with nobody on. He's a major weapon at the plate.
A good cutter from Torres. Fastball, low 90s. Good curveball and a cutter.
Correa has 5 hits on the young season, 3 of those for homers. He's already driven in 4. Got tremendous opposite field power. Probably going to have a few home runs go to die in Houston.
Center field anyway. You get some cheapies down the left field line, but
yeah, you'll make up for it if you have the pull power.
Yeah, but gap to gap, it's pretty deep, especially in center.
Torres anxious to get back on the mound after his Brewers debut, giving up a couple of runs to the Giants. There's a little flare, and that's going to fall fair. Correa thinking about 2. He's on his way. Santana's throw, the tag, safe. Hustle double by Carlos Correa. Good play out there by Santana.
Got a good arm, got a big arm, and very accurate that time, right on the money to VR at second. But Correa got eaten up inside by Carlos Torres, but pulls the hands in enough, muscles it out there down the line and right. And he's thinking double all the way. Good risk to take, 2 outs and nobody on. And get into scoring position. Just able to beat it barely.
All the close plays are going the Astros way tonight. Craig Counsell has been on that top step to indicate to the umpire he wants to look at replay, and
4th time.
I think this is going to be another occasion where Counsell says never mind.
Coming in feet first. And does he get the toe? Is the foot on the bag? It looks like it. But we'll see. Craig's video group taking a close look. I think that the slide by Correa went into the toe of VR. And the question was, did the foot get on the bag as well?
Tell you, all these close calls, and the calls on the field are proving accurate. Got to give some credit to Dan Bellino, the second base umpire. He's had a number of those. Got to be a little feather in the cap when they look at replay and say, you know what, you were right.
They're dialed in early in the year right now, right?
it's an umpire love fest tonight. So with 2 outs and a runner at second, Luis Valbuena at the plate for Houston, former Cub. I remember Dale Swain managing the Cubs. He used to rave about Valbuena. But the Cubs had a third baseman named Chris Bryant coming up through the minor leagues that they wanted to make room for.
Yeah, Valbuena very inconsistent at the plate, but boy, he could pick it at third base. The cleanup hitter had a good year last year hitting home runs.
In a hitter's count, and a big swing. Boy, he was taking a shot at the seats that time. Yesterday, Valbuena was 2 for 3 against the Yankees.
Yeah, Valbuena last year, this is interesting when you look at his numbers. 25 home runs last year, 132 games, 56 RBIs.
So they put him in a cleanup spot, hoping to get more runners on base.
Right.
For him. He had a career year last year in homers and RBIs. Two-two pitch. Right back to Torres. And a scoreless inning for the Brewer reliever. We go to the bottom of the 6th. Chris Carter, the former Astros, due up second. He's got a 2-run homer already tonight. Halfway through, 4-0 our score as we head to the bottom of the 6th. And again, our carsoup.com trivia. Al Downing surrendered Hank Aaron's historic 7-15. Which 4 MLB teams did he play for? He did it as a Dodger when he gave up the home run, but he spent some time here in Milwaukee. He was a Yankee, played for the Athletics, the Brewers, and then the Dodgers. Al Downing.
Yeah, from Trenton, New Jersey.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Who's more popular in Trenton, Al Downing or Bill Schroeder?
Al Downing, no doubt.
Trenton Central High School. What was your high school?
West Windsor, Plainsboro. I didn't actually grow up in Trenton.
Oh.
Outskirts of Trenton.
That changes the story a little bit.
But my mailing address as a kid was Trenton.
Well, that makes it work.
Okay.
What was on your baseball
card? Is that
card?
all right?
What'd your baseball card say?
Said a lot of different things.
I mean, hometown, what did it say?
Yeah, West Windsor.
West Windsor?
Yeah.
So Al Downing really is more popular in Trenton.
Yep.
He was here in Milwaukee in 1970, first year of the franchise. They'd come from Seattle, the Pilots. Jonathan Lucroy, lazy fly ball to left for out number 1.
Hey, Davinsky doing a good job throwing strikes. Actually, I said he's been with the team from the beginning of the year. He actually got added to the roster before yesterday's game. Astros have had some bullpen issues. They sent somebody down. Michael Feliz was optioned to AAA. They brought up Davinsky.
Here's Chris Carter at the plate, presented by Blaze Pizza. I've been able to acquire some of your baseball cards.
And
this one here says Baltimore, Maryland.
Born.
Throw that one out. Baltimore, Maryland. Baltimore, Maryland. Baltimore, Baltimore.
I spent my first year and a half of life. I had the greatest year and a half of my life.
You and Babe Ruth from Baltimore, Maryland.
There's
a
one there.
Ball and a base hit by Carter. It's going to go down to the wall, and Carter with another extra base hit. A double for Chris Carter to go along with his 2-run home run. Well, that ball was tattooed.
Yeah. I'll tell you, he gets extension. I mean, no telling how hard they're going to get hit. It's a fastball in. Remember, he hit a curveball out of the ballpark to center field his first time up. He had good, quick hands on the inner half of the plate. Rips one down the line. So Carter off to a good start this year.
2 for 3 today. Carter at second. Brewers up 4-0. Trying to add to it. Here's Aaron Hill, who's 0 for 2. Chris Davinsky making his major league debut, pitching in his 2nd inning. He was impressive in his first inning in the big leagues. 3 up, 3 down. Got Santana, Jeanette, and Ryan Braun quickly. Aaron Hill's 0 for 2.
Are you done with those cards? Can
No.
Can I have them back?
Checking them out.
Don't start reading off batting averages, please.
Says here you live in Hales Corners, Wisconsin. Actually, I found one that has you from Trenton.
Yeah.
This one. This must have been the 1986 card. This one right here. Look at Rock. Got the hat on. You don't need no helmet back there.
No.
Probably didn't even wear a mask.
Well, I wore the cloth helmet or cloth hat until Cliff Johnson smoked me on the back of the head with a bat.
Did the bat break?
On a follow through.
Hill in the left center field, falling fast, and a dive and a catch by Gomez. Carlos Gomez, vintage.
Yeah, just a little bit off the end, and that's why it hung up. And Carlos Gomez able to cover a lot of ground, make up a lot of ground very quickly. We've seen that 100 times. Playing pretty much straight away, got a good jump. Ball just hanging up there a little bit, and Gomez able to make the catch. He's a good one.
Man, he closes some ground. Hill hoping to see one fall for a base hit. Instead, Gomez, the Gold Glover, robs him. So here is VR, the switch hitter. He's been on twice. Another former Astro. VR had a single in the second, was thrown out trying to steal second, and then he walked in the fourth. Popped him up. Foul territory, going to be close. Valbuena will watch it into the seats. 3 rows up. A fortunate bounce for a long-time season ticket holder.
The doorman.
Didn't the doorman move to Phoenix? Didn't we see him in Phoenix last year?
Oh, he moves around a little bit.
It's good to have him back.
Ushers, you know, opposing hitters that have struck out. He kind of shows them the way to the dugout. The doorman. Well, he's been around forever.
No balls, 2 strikes on VR. Oh, Ed Cedar wears one. Can't hurt Eddie.
Well, he's got to stay right there. He's got to make sure nobody sneaks in behind Chris Carter. He's not even watching. That's why he gets hit. He's keeping an eye on Correa behind Carter to make sure he doesn't sneak in there and get picked off. Dangerous spot for a third base coach.
Got him. Good pitch. Change up. And a strikeout to end the inning. 4-0 Brewers. We're headed to the 7th from Miller Park on a Friday night. We go 4-0 Brewers on top of the Astros this interleague matchup tonight. Say if you can't watch the games on television, you can now stream games live on your mobile device. Just go to your app store and download the free Fox Sports Go app. Log in and stream the Brewers wherever you go. To the 7th we go, and Carlos Torres back on the mound for the Brewers, his second appearance. Carlos Gomez at the plate after a terrific catch, robbing Aaron Hill of a base hit last inning. Gomez doubled with 2 outs in the 4th, and then he was caught stealing. Got himself in a rundown, and it took 6 throws to get him out.
Still
big
hasn't
wave
lost,
and a miss.
still hasn't lost his helmet in any swing tonight. A little disappointing.
Maybe his helmets fit a little better in the American League.
I think that a lot of fans come into the ballpark to see Carlos lose his helmet. Always entertaining.
Even his swings and misses are fun. Brewers beat writer Tom Hodgecourt had a great line about Gomez. He talked to Gomez, and Carlos was telling a story, answering questions about his popularity here in Milwaukee. And he said, yeah, today, Carlos said, I went to a sushi restaurant. I no pay. You still love him here. Having his meals bought for him.
I didn't know Carlos liked sushi.
I didn't either.
Wow.
Apparently he does.
Yeah.
He didn't pay.
On the Brian Anderson ticket.
Okay. Right. Says Mr. Milwaukee. 2-2. Gomez takes a ball low. It's the thing about Carlos. With the big swings, the wild swings, you feel like a good breaking ball will get him, and sometimes you can, but that was a pretty good pitch.
Yeah, with 2 strikes, I mean, he's a little bit more patient. He shortens up a little bit. Doesn't look like it when he swings, but mentally he's shortening up a little bit and trying to be more contact conscious.
He's a little late on the fastball.
He can take some mighty undisciplined swings, but then all of a sudden he steps out. He smells the bat to find out where he makes contact. That's what he does that for.
I thought it was just wiping his nose on the bat.
Yeah.
I had no idea that actually served a purpose. Popped him up. Good pitch. Fastball down, and Gomez is retired.
According to Carlos, it has a little bit of a burning smell.
As only Carlos would know. So the first out of the inning. Carlos Torres trying to bridge the gap and get to the late innings here for the Brewers. Chase Anderson pitched well, 5 shutout innings, 85 pitches. Got to feel good for him to get his Brewers career started in such fashion.
Well, he had really good stuff. All of his pitches working for him nicely.
And here is Tyler White.
You had to figure when Chase Anderson started that first inning with a base hit to Altuve, in the back of his mind, he might have been thinking, here we go again in the first inning, but he's able to get the next 3. I think that gave him a lot of confidence going into the rest of the game. Good changeup, curveball.
Tyler White, by the way, after that infield hit in the 5th inning, gives him 2 hits tonight. He has set a Houston Astros franchise record. 8 hits in his first 4 major league games. A called strike 3. Torres rings him up, and the red hot Tyler White has an about face.
Yeah, right on the outside corner with a nice cutter. Check it out. Lucroy barely has to move the glove, catching the outside edge. And Tom Hallion gives him the benefit of the doubt.
The Tom Hallion ring up. You know, I'm pretty particular about umpire ring ups. And for me, my power rankings have Tom Hallion #1 and then Jim Joyce #2.
Yeah, I'm with you.
It's always a pleasure.
You know what I like about it? The enthusiasm that he shows for what he's doing out there, right?
He loves his craft.
Nothing lackadaisical about Tom Hallion behind home plate. I mean, that rubs off on the players, too. It does.
How good does that feel if you're a pitcher and you get a ring up like that?
Feels good for everybody but the hitter. Steve Palermo used to be like that.
Oh, is that right?
Great umpire.
Yeah.
I mean, good umpire, ball strike guy, safe out. He was good on the bases and always enthusiastic clapping the hands between innings, getting people going.
Little dribbler over to first base. Carter's got it. And that will retire the side. Tom Howyan, he's had a bunch of punch outs tonight. This is his kind of game. How do you go, Tom? Oh, the spinal cord is flexed.
The Brewers with a 4-0 lead over the Astros, and there's no better spot for a group outing than a Brewers game at Miller Park. With packages starting as low as $6 per ticket, you can plan a custom tailgate, reserve a block of seats, or even rent out an all-inclusive area or party suite. Learn more at brewers.com/groups.
Heading to the bottom of the 7th. And Kirk Neuenhuis will pinch hit for the Brewers. Carlos Torres, 2 shutout innings. Impressive. Torres gave up just the 1 hit. That was the double, the flared double to right by Correa. Made it look easy tonight. Neuenhuis, another of the former Mets. He and Carlos Torres were teammates with the Mets last few years. Derek Johnson, the pitching coach, chatting with Torres.
Always a nice conversation, pitching coach and pitcher after an outing like that, right? Veteran coming out of that bullpen for Craig Counsell, always good.
Boy, that changeup is something. Chris Davinsky is making a name for himself tonight.
Yeah, working on his 3rd inning. He's only allowed 1 base hit. There's that changeup, the circle change, which means it's going to go away from a left-handed hitter as it gets to home plate. Choke off the velocity, the arm action like a fastball, and more times than not, hitter's going to be out in front.
That is his 3rd strikeout. Keon Broxton, his 3rd at bat, has walked, stole a base, and scored. That all came in the 2nd inning, and then he struck out in the 4th to end the inning. Getting his 2nd start of the season. He started opening day in center field. Bit of a revolving door between he and Flores, occasionally Neuenhuis. And you figure Braun's going to need some days off as well, occasionally. Still coming back from back surgery, so you can't roll him out there every day.
Yeah, 2 guys that have yet to appear in the game. Martin Maldonado has not appeared, and Yadiel Rivera. Neither one of those 2 guys have appeared in the game yet.
You got Willie Peralta scheduled to pitch tomorrow as Broxton strikes out, and Davinsky keeps it going here. His 4th punch out already. Hey, a reminder that Sunday, UFC Fight Night returns to FS1. The heavyweights will rule the octagon, it says. Ben Rothwell takes on former champ Junior Dos Santos. Plus Gonzaga battles Lewis. It's all Sunday at a special time at 10:30 a.m. Central, only FS1, or you can watch it live on Fox Sports Go. Fly ball right field, drifting into foul territory, and Springer hauls it in. And welcome to the big leagues, Chris Davinsky. 3 shutout innings for the kid. Looks at Miller Park, interleague matchup, Astros Brewers, and our game summary is Scooter Gennett launches his 2nd home run of the year. That was in the 1st inning, put the Brewers on top, and then later in that inning, Chris Carter, the former Astro, with a 2-run homer, his 2nd home run in as many games as a Brewer. Then it was another former Astro, Domingo Santana, RBI double with 2 outs, gave the Brewers a 4-0 lead, and that's where we sit. Chase Anderson, terrific 5 shutout innings in his first start of the season. Carlos Torres with 2 shutout out of the bullpen, and now Greg Counsell will give the ball to Tyler Thornburg.
Yeah, pitched on Wednesday against the Giants and picked up his first win of the year with a scoreless inning. Last year went 0-2, 24 relief appearances in 2 different stints with the Brewers and a .367 earned run average.
Thornburg will face Preston Tucker, who will pinch hit. Astros are at the 8th spot of their batting order, which was occupied by the pitcher after a change earlier. So Tucker is up there. Tucker yesterday hit a 2nd deck home run at Yankee Stadium. His first home run of the year. Pulled one. It was a long battle against Nathan Eovaldi, and he hit a rocket.
He's off to a nice start.
Tucker was in the starting lineup and went back-to-back yesterday with Tyler White. Gets the chance to pinch hit. A.J. Hinch used Colby Rasmus in the 5th, left him in the game to play left, and now Tucker off the bench. This is a key moment here for the Brewers relief squad. At the bottom of the order, 8 and 9, and you got some very dangerous hitters at the top of that order, and you'd like to have them bat with nobody on base.
Well, Thornburg showed a very good changeup his first appearance on Friday against the Giants. Changeup's been the story tonight for both teams, really.
And he got him. There's the changeup on cue. Thornburg strikes out Tucker to start the 8th inning. Might have chased ball 4.
Yep, you have confidence in that pit. It is a dandy on a full count. Guy expecting a fastball. Even a changeup out of the strike zone sometimes will get a swing. Yeah, Tyler able to come back from down and count 3-1.
Good start to the inning. A strikeout for Thornburg. Here's Colby Rasmus, his second at bat. Rasmus spent some time with the Cardinals. Was traded to the Blue Jays. Seems to have found a home with the Astros. Rasmus wasn't in the lineup every day in their postseason run against Kansas City, but when he played, he dominated. He had 6 hits in the ALDS, and 3 of those 6 hits were home runs against the Royals. Astros pushed the Royals to the brink in a 5-game series. They took them to a game 5. Of course, the Royals would go on to win the World Series. And Rasmus walks on 4 straight. So a base runner for Altuve, back to the top of the Astros batting order. Altuve singled and stole a base in the first. He's had a couple of ground outs in his last 2 at-bats.
And very good at shooting that ball between first and second, and the Brewers have a shift on for him. He had Scooters in it, playing up the middle. Got to be careful of shooting that ball in the right field. And Tyler Thornburg now has thrown 5 consecutive pitches out of the zone.
Yeah, remember Tucker looked like he chased ball 4 for the strikeout. Technically a strike, but a pitch that was out of the zone, and a visit from Lucroy. By the way, that walk by Thornburg was the first issue tonight by a Brewer pitcher. Anderson and Torres combined for 7 walkless innings. In the air to right. Good pitch. Got him with a fastball that time, and Altuve, that's a big out for Thornburg.
Yeah, unusual for Altuve to give up an at-bat like that. He had to count in his favor. Got a fastball and just kind of reached for it. An easy fly to right. That's not something you see from Jose Altuve very often. You see that 4-seam fastball out on his front foot. That's not an Altuve swing. Maybe with 2 strikes, not with the count in his favor.
And 5 consecutive pitches out of the strike zone. So here's Springer with a man at first. 4-0 Brewers. We play in the 8th. Brewers dropped 2 out of 3 to the Giants, but won their final game Wednesday. Astros lost 2 out of 3 in New York against the Yankees, winning the middle game of that series.
You got to get this guy right here. You got Correa on deck. They could get in the game very quickly.
Another strike. 95-mile-an-hour fastball from Thornburg.
And he showed good velocity on Wednesday. Velocity's back for him. Was down last year. Tyler says he's as healthy as he's ever been this year going into the season.
1 ball, 2 strikes. High fastball this time. Thornburg, you got to give him credit. A lot of pitchers in his position would have gone and had surgery, the ligament replacement surgery. He decided, and doctors decided, that it'd be best to try to rehab the elbow, and he's come back strong. He really took care of himself and built up the muscles around it. Surgery's not always the best option, and he's got a fastball humming right now. Blows it right by Springer. A couple of strikeouts for Tyler Thornburg, and the shutout is still intact. 95-mile-an-hour heat right by him. 4-0 Brewers as we go to the home 8th.
sure about in this game. Well pitched, well hit, 4-0 Milwaukee. As we go to the bottom of the 8th inning, we're getting ready for Brewers Live postgame. The 3 former Astros that are playing for the Brewers right now been on base 5 times, including Carter's home run.
Well, you know what? You always like to do well against a team that you came from. So, yeah, they've been a big key for the Brewers tonight, doing a nice job.
We'll hear from some of those former Astros and also a former Brewer as well, and Carlos Gomez, Craig Counsell, all coming up after the ball game on Brewers Live postgame. Brian.
All right, thanks a lot, Craig and Davey. Looking forward to that. Bottom of inning 8, and Scooter Gennett will lead off. Astros have made a couple of changes here. Preston Tucker stays in to play left, and that's going to move Colby Rasmus to right field. Josh Fields, the new pitcher for Houston. 3 strong innings by Chris Davinsky.
Wow, he was good. Impressive. I know you see what Fields did in his appearance on Wednesday against the Yankees. Got roughed up a little bit, an inning in the 3rd, 3 runs. Last year, 54 appearances and a .355 earned run average out of the bullpen.
Gennett with a home run that started it here today. First inning, first pitch, swinging home run for Gennett, who now has 5 hits on the season, and 2 of those are homers. Scooter Gennett had 6 last year. Powerball home run leaderboard. Those that are with the Brewers now. Braun had a bounce back season with 25. Santana traded from the Astros to the Brewers. Managed to impress with those 6 and in a short amount of time. Looks like a home run threat. 2-2 to Gennett. Due up for the Astros in the 9th will be Correa, Valbuena, and Gomez. 3, 4, and 5 in their batting order. The Brewers will have at least a 4-run lead.
Another changeup. Everybody's throwing changeups tonight.
I love the change.
Yeah, Fields, he can get it up there in the mid-90s. 95, 96. Power curveball, and he's throwing a couple of changeups to Scooter.
I hear it all the time. The changeup is the best pitch in baseball off the fastball.
Right. Yeah, it's easier to command. It's not real hard on your arm. You know, like the slider. Just a difference of a grip, right?
Seems harder than that for everyone, though.
You know what? It's difficult. It's difficult to get the mindset to be able to throw it confidently in the big leagues. You're figuring you're going to take some velocity off. It's going to get hit.
Something less than my best.
Right. Yeah.
A change of pace. The 8th pitch of the at-bat, and Gennett lays off a breaking ball.
Jimmy Nelson's really working hard to develop a good changeup and get confident in it. The Brewers had him throwing a lot of them in spring training. He threw one in his first start and then ended up in his seats and didn't see too many after that. Got to get that confidence in it to throw it in tough spots.
Let's see what he has here. Pitch number 9 is a fastball that misses. What an at bat for Gennett.
That's that patience that he's been working on. Hey, tonight's time of the game winner, Spillway Pub in Holman, Wisconsin, if they call the Brewers, by 8 o'clock tomorrow morning at 414-902-4572. They get 40 tickets to a Friday night game in the Miller Lite beer pen. This offer courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and Miller Lite.
Here's Ryan Braun with a man at first. Braun's been on. He walked in the first inning. Has a couple of pop-ups in his last 2 at-bats. He's looking for that first home run of the season, Ryan Braun. He hit one against the Astros in the exhibition schedule. The Brewers went down to Houston for a couple of days last week. Hit homers in back-to-back games, as a matter of fact, in Houston. Brewers finished their spring training schedule in Arizona with a game in Phoenix against the Rockies, and then traveled to Houston for a night game and then a day game in Houston, and then they went to Biloxi to face the Double-A team. Braun into right center field, way back, and Ryan Braun sends one out. His first home run of the year. A 2-run shot, and the Brewers lead it 6-0.
Well, you talk about home runs, and it rubs off, doesn't it? Who says you don't make a difference up here? Well done. Well, Ryan Braun got a 2-0 fastball. That's his wheelhouse, out away from him. And hit that one a ton out there in the center field. Brewers with a 6-0 lead.
And a breather home run for Braun. First of the year, the franchise leader in career homers. Collects #1 on the season to make it 6-0 Milwaukee.
And the problems for Fields continue. Gave up 3 runs in his outing on Wednesday. 2 more here tonight. Still nobody out. And Ryan Braun, I mean, if Ryan Braun could put a ball on the tee, that's exactly where he'd put it. Out away from, a little bit above the knees, and the tug on the jersey gives you a sense that that ball's out of here. You think he knows he does that?
You know, I asked him about that once. He had no idea. But he does it when he knows he hit it well. He tugs on that jersey.
I mean, he doesn't do it unless it's out of the ballpark. I've
Right.
never seen him, you know, even a warning track job, he doesn't do it. Yeah.
I remember one occasion where he tugged the jersey. I think we were in Pittsburgh. You know how big of a ballpark that is. And he gave a little tug, and it stayed in the ballpark.
And it stayed in the yard.
Right here. Watch
there it
him.
is. Up, there it is. Yep,
that.
home run.
It's
Home run.
Pull the string.
Right above the E.
It was a classic Ryan Braun swing. One of the great right-handed swings of all time is what it is.
Not too many better.
Plate coverage, power.
And you leave one out over the plate, they're not going to come back.
Oh, wow. He's got a little new thing with Ed Cedar. Well, Ed's post-surgery now, so he can actually jump.
He's moving around good. Of course, he did get hit with one today.
All right. That's something to keep an eye on. Look at that smile.
He's still upset about getting hit by that foul ball.
As Lucroy is down on strikes. First out of the inning. Here's Chris Carter. Have to get a measurement on the home runs of Carter and Braun. Both were hitting very similar spots. Both no doubters, 400 plus feet.
Both of them exceptional power to the opposite field. Carter hit one Wednesday, got in on him, didn't even hit it well. Knocked it out of here into the bullpen in right center.
Carter telling us before the year he wants to be thought of as more than just a power hitter, more than a home run hitter. Wants to be a good hitter. He's trying to take measures to work counts, be better with 2 strikes, cut down on his strikeouts.
No, he's going to get chances. It's not like he's got to get a couple of hits tonight to be in the lineup the next day. He's going to be in the lineup. He can relax about that and just play his game. Home runs in back-to-back games now for Carter.
I thought the sacrifice fly in Wednesday's game was a key at-bat for him. And a wave and a miss. Big fastball again. Same pitch that got Lucroy. Back-to-back Ks for Fields. Hey, this week only, T-Mobile customers can get a free season-long subscription to MLB.TV Premium. Go to T-Mobile.com/MLB to sign up now, and you can catch every moment of America's fastest-growing LTE network. Here's Aaron Hill with 2 outs.
And Phil's not messing around too much anymore with the off-speed stuff. He's been rearing back and letting it go. There's Freeman looking for his first appearance as a Brewer.
Hill is 0 for 3. Was robbed of a hit by a diving Carlos Gomez in center field in the 6th inning. Fields is just rearing back and firing away now.
Yeah, he's enough with the changeups and all that other stuff. I mean, that was the best bolt he's had yet, 95.
The last 2 strikeouts have come on that fastball. Ooh, curveball, good one. And a ring up. So Hill is down, but the Brewers playing long ball tonight. Who's got the longest? How about Scooter Gennett, 427 feet. Chris Carter, 420. Ryan Braun, 416. 3 jacks. Brewers lead 6-0. The Brewers enjoying the party tonight. Brewers baseball on Fox Sports Wisconsin, presented by Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. And here we go to the 9th. 6-0. The Brewers trying to shut out the Astros in this first game of a 3-game series. A crowd over 30,000 on hand tonight. Retro Friday. And it's going to be a first for Sam Freeman, his first appearance as a Milwaukee Brewer coming.
Yeah, pitch for the Cardinals and the Texas Rangers. Actually, the Rangers designated him for assignment at the end of spring training. The Brewers picked him up. And 6 relief appearances in spring training, a .568 earned run average. He appeared in 54 games last year for Texas and had a very good 3.05 earned run average. No room for him in the bullpen for Texas.
Command is the key for Sam Freeman. Good stuff. reports on Freeman is that he is a great clubhouse presence, great teammate, left-hander with good stuff, and if he can corral it, he can be tough as Correa turns that one around. A 93-mile-an-hour fastball that exits just as fast.
He's just got very quick hands. It looks like his swing is effortless, and it's all about the bat speed at the point of contact, and Correa turned that one around at 93.
Second hit of the night for Correa.
Nice and quiet, keeps his hands still, and that bat like a lightning bolt through the strike zone.
This guy is a star, and his star is only going to get brighter. So here is Valbuena with Carlos Gomez due next. Brian Braun with a 2-run homer in the bottom of the 8th to give the Brewers a 6-run lead to work with here. But a night for the pitcher for the Brewers. Anderson went 5 shutout, the starter who's in line for the win. Carlos Torres with 2 scoreless. And then Tyler Thornburg working a scoreless inning. Only 1 walk tonight. In the air to left, sounded pretty good off the bat, but Braun is there. Out number 1. We're back at it tomorrow night. Airtime 5:30. Remember, that's a 6:10 first pitch in the Central Time Zone. Doug Fister for the Astros against Willie Peralta for the Brew Crew. Our Miller Lite What's on Tap, the Brewers opening day starter round 2 against Fister, who is making his season debut tomorrow.
Yeah, Willie looking for a bounce back. Rough outing on opening day.
Carlos Gomez. Finale of the series is Sunday. It's a day game, as is usually the case here at Miller Park.
That'd be a good pitching matchup.
Man, I guess. Jimmy Nelson against the reigning American League Cy Young Award winner Dallas Keuchel. Sunday afternoon, 1:10 first pitch, 12:30 airtime. And then the Brewers are headed to St. Louis. 3-game series with the Cardinals next week. Ground ball, the shift was on, and Jeanette, no chance here. Gomez runs it out for a base hit and field single, and now 2 men are on for the Astros.
Yep, right off the end of the bat, and Carlos Gomez able to beat the shift. Not much you can do about that defensively. It was a good pitch by Freeman, who was down in the count, pulled the string on him, and there's no chance right now for Scooter Jeanette.
Probably better served to just hold on to that one.
Yeah, he's eat that one. Forget it.
Made it easy for Carter, though. So with 2 on, it'll be Tyler White, whose batting average is down a tick after his strikeout in the 7th, from 700 to 667.
Only one way to go from here.
Sure, the nerves are a factor for Sam Freeman, who's been in the big league setting, but anytime you're with a new club, start of a season, remember he was without a major league job, so this is a nice break for him to get a chance to come to an organization that has a spot for him in the big leagues.
Yeah, he was home, you know, working out on his own when he got the call.
He's from the Dallas area. Played his high school ball in Carrollton, Texas. We saw Sam for a few years in this division when he was with the Cardinals. Last year with the Cardinals was 14, and then he was with Texas last year. Swing and a miss. Good pitch.
Change up again, huh? Yeah, Freeman was a 32nd rounder in 2008.
Isn't that something? You got a matchup here with a 32nd rounder on the mound and the batter a 33rd round draft pick. They made it into right center. Well hit. Santana's got a long way to go. Has he done it again? He has. My goodness. Tyler White with a 3-run homer. And his improbable ride in the big leagues continues. Amazing.
Yeah. Oh, and he hit a changeup out of the ballpark. Yeah, maybe one too many changeups for Freeman, and this time White able to take one out of here to the opposite field. Another changeup out over the plate, maybe looking for it this time, and he rides out of here. I think it hit off the top of the fence and bounced over. Bingo.
Sure did.
Yep, 3-run shot.
Tyler White has 3 more hits tonight. Had 3 yesterday. He's driven in 7 runs in his last 2 games.
Yeah, Jeremy Jeffress getting loose. One more base runner. He's going to be in.
Tying run has to move on deck to make it a save situation. And there is Jeffress under the watchful eye of Lee Tunnell, the bullpen coach. Marwin Gonzalez is pinch hitting for Jason Castro. And it's 3-0. It's an easy decision for Counsell. Another base runner, and he'll make the change.
But not one that he wanted to have to make. He didn't want to have to bring his closer tonight. Now with a 6-0 lead.
And he walked him on 4 straight.
He's coming in now.
So a tough first outing for Sam Freeman. And now Jeffress will be called upon to try to close this one out. Tightening up quickly here, the heavy hitting Astros, who have been shut down all game until this 9th inning. And Counsell will make the call to the bullpen. Freeman is out. Jeffress is in. 1 gone, 9th inning, and now a 3-run game. Tyler White to start the year is at a 3-run home run, and this game has gotten very interesting quickly. Jeremy Jeffress on to pitch on Wednesday. Jeffress against the Giants, and Rocky was his first save of the season and his first save in the big leagues in 5 years.
Yeah, since 2011 when he was with the Kansas City Royals. He had a good curveball, working the fastball in, but it was a curveball that was really the pitch for him on Wednesday. And who would have thought you would have seen Jeremy Jeffress in this game when the Brewers took the field in the ninth with a 6-0 lead? But here he is, third game for Jeremy, has yet to give up a run.
1 out in the inning. Astros with 3 hits and a walk in this inning, and Tyler White just hit a 3-run homer. So it'll be Preston Tucker now. And a hard-throwing Jeremy Jeffress with a runner at first. Brewers have a shift on, makes for a bit of an unusual double play opportunity if one should come their way. That's Aaron Hill at the top behind second base. Bring the third baseman over.
He's a little bit more accustomed to playing where he's at right now. He's been a second baseman most of his career. Still an unusual double play to turn at that angle.
Jeffress would love to get one on the ground and get out of here with a win. Tying run on deck. And a strike. A fastball from Jeffress is in there. VR, the shortstop, stays in his spot. Hill comes over from third to play behind the bag. Longtime second baseman. It's always interesting to see who goes to the bag if there's a ground ball to the right side. Is it Hill or VR? Brewers had a little miscommunication on a similar play in the Giants series. But that was on a ground ball to first. Jeanette tried to retreat to the bag. He was the man on at the top spot.
And when you try and cover ground and you play these shifts, I mean, some of these double plays that ordinarily would be pretty routine become very interesting when you have players making throws they're not used to players that aren't used to taking the throws in those spots. But it's good to have a guy like Aaron Hill who's been around a long time, and I'm sure that he's going to be able to handle any spot, any situation.
One ball, 2 strikes. Preston Tucker at the plate, and a swing and a bullet to center field. That is going to get down. A dive by Broxton. Braun there to cut it off, and another run is coming in for the Astros.
Yikes.
It is 6-4. Tucker with an RBI double, and the tying run is coming to the plate.
Yeah, and the Brewers are going to be having to deal with the top of the order again unless you get a double play here somehow. But Altuve looks like he's going to get in that bat. And Craig Counsell is wondering what's going on here tonight. Boy, things were going pretty well. Looks like something off speed from Jeffress. Yeah, fastball maybe going away from him, and no chance for Broxton out there in center field. And Gonzalez, who drew a walk, able to score from first base. Wow.
Well, game on now. Here's Colby Rasmus, and he's another guy with power in this lineup. 2-run lead, 2 outs to get, and they're not coming easy here in the 9th inning. Rasmus batting for the 3rd time. Didn't start the game. Pinch hit in the 5th, and he's remained in the game. And Rasmus ahead 2-0. Brewers have a shift on for Rasmus with Altuve on deck. Now it's in the dirt. Ball 3.
Yep, not even close. Jeremy overthrowing a bit.
Those last 3 outs, they are the toughest to get. And a dangerous hitter, a former batting champion, waits to hit next. A 2-strike double and an RBI by Tucker. Got to be careful here. Rasmus, he'll let it go 3-0, especially in this kind of situation.
Good pitch right on the corner. Yep.
Still a hitter's count. Lost him. Ball 4. And the beat goes on for the Astros. Well, the momentum is shifting quickly. Derek Johnson, the pitching coach, on his way out.
And now the top of the order's coming up. And nowhere to put anybody. And Craig Counsell's wondering what is going on here in the 9th inning. What a disaster so far. A ground ball might end this game, but you got to be able to throw strikes, get ahead in the count.
And Altuve runs extremely well, so he'd have to hit one right at an infielder. Inning began with a Brewers score of 6-0 in the lead. And Counsell going to Sam Freeman to start the inning. Freeman giving up a 3-run home run. And all 4 of the runs belong to Freeman right now.
Yeah, at the time, it looked like that 2-run home run by Braun was a knockout punch tonight, but not yet.
Two on, 1 out. Good portion of the crowd left thinking this one was in the bag. Not the case. Very quiet here. And Jeffress falls behind. Ground ball. Jeanette goes to second, out there. Dangerous throw, but they get the lead out.
That's a good
Wait
play.
a minute, we got a call at second. Off the bag, that's a double play. And if that holds up, the game is over.
Yeah, and that's the rule that we were talking about earlier in the week. He wasn't able to maintain control of second base. And it's going to be an automatic double play. Wow.
Dan Bellino, the second base umpire. Colby Rasmus trying to break up a double play, did not maintain contact with the bag.
They're going to take a look at it.
This is reviewable, but I can't imagine that they will change it. Because by the letter of the law, we already saw a game end like this with the Rays and the Blue Jays.
Yeah.
Boy, this would be a very hot topic if this one ends the game.
Let's see, does Colby Rasmus maintain control of the bag, or does he slide by it? Yep, he's out. I mean, that's an easy one. That's a no-brainer for the umpires. Dan Bellino calls it right away. When you slide into second base like that, breaking up a double play, you have to maintain command or control of second base. He did not.
You saw Dan Bellino immediately signaling. And this is going to be the second walk-off second base review we've had. That's the new rule, 601J.
Maintain contact with second base on your slide and breaking up a double play. If you don't, it's an automatic double play. This is going to be an easy call. I'm not even sure he ever touched second base.
I mean, you don't want a game to end this way if you're Major League Baseball, but you got to put that on Colby Rasmus. Everybody knows the rule.
Right. It's a learning curve, though. I mean, guys aren't used to that. I'm not so sure why it's taken so long.
And the headsets are coming off. The crew chief, Tom Hallion, will make the call. That's it. That is the ball game.
What a break that is.
Wow, my goodness. It's a new era in Major League Baseball. And the second base slide has come into play twice this week. The Brewers win as the Astros are rallying in the 9th inning.
Yeah, A.J. Hinch not happy, but that's the rule. It's pretty simple. It's straightforward. There's not much of an argument, but until baseball changes this is going to be an out every time. He never does touch second base, let alone maintain control of second base. Easy call.
Base runners, beware. You better know the rule. Can't slide like that anymore. Amazing finish. I mean, this is going to be one that they're going to be talking about for a while.
Yeah,
2 in the same week.
That's the rule right now, but I'm not sure that's going to be the rule the rest of the season.
All right, well, let's send it down to Sophia. She's standing by with Scooter Gennett. He may know a little bit about this call.
Scooter, kind of a controversial end here, but what did you see here on the final out?
It was just a hard slide, and I guess that rule, is that rule, and they reviewed it, and it stands, so we win.
Things got a little hairy here in the 9th, but to come away with this win, the resiliency of this team, JJ getting that final out?
It's important. We played a good game for the most part, and they battled and scratched a few runs there at the end. It's just nice to end the game with a win. You never want a game to end like that, but on both sides, it was a well-played game.
You had the home run in the first. You now have hits in each of the first 4 games. How locked in do you feel at the plate?
I feel good. For the most part, I'm swinging at good pitches, and that's a big thing for me, is swinging at good pitches and not giving any at-bats away.
All right, thanks, Scooter, for your time. Scooter Gennett, one of 3 Brewers, along with Chris Carter and Ryan Braun to homer here tonight. They win this one 6-4. Brewers win the opener over the Astros. We've got Brewers Live coming up next with Craig Kashan and Davey Nelson.